Think. I'll try. Think. I'll try. Alright, we're good. How is everybody? Just gonna let some people filter in quick. And then we'll get going. I also have some tea that's steeping that I kind of want to go get before I get too deep into things. Yeah, I'll let people gather. There's a poll right now for who you think wins it all. We won't find that out today. We're only doing the first round of 32. Right. 32! Sorry, Grace was just mad. Here's the bracket right now, 32 factions. Now, we did have a prediction on our Discord. You can still technically do that for a couple more minutes, but after we get going, I will stop saving those. And whoever gets the closest to correct, doesn't have to be fully correct, just has to be the closest. We get to change the profile picture for at least a week to something PG-13. But here is everyone. I know the results of the round of 32 because I set up some of the round of 16 matchups and some of those have even been played. But I have not watched any of the games we're about to watch today, except for obviously the one I was included in. Oh! So I don't fully know what to expect. I'm going in blind. If there are any rule breaks or any issues like that, it was not raised to me before time, so we're not redoing any matches. If we load into a game and someone has 399 models and it's technically too short, that's too bad, you know? We had a whole week for someone to call that out, and no one did. So, hooray. Hooray. I can't guarantee that we're going to cast these in a specific order. It's just the order I have them saved. I know Loopy wanted me to delay his towards the end of the stream because he was going to be gone. He wanted to watch his game. That seems fine. I don't really care what order we cast these in, but as we cast them, we'll come back to this screen that you're currently on, and we'll update who won, so in the end you'll get a nice little pretty picture. Right. I'm coming right out. Yeah, so I'm going to grab my tea. Be right back.
Get a lot of business done.
Alrighty. So we're here. We're focused. Also, any super chats or anything you do today, any of the money through the YouTube system, you don't have to, but anything you do goes towards the prize pool for the faction war. As we just did playoffs, so I chucked like $350 at stuff for this, so I didn't really have much prize pool, but I know Strat Game, Cool Umbrella, and Coops have donated stuff to equal about, I think it's $175 right now. So any super chats, I'll just chuck towards that prize pool as well. Lucinia and Zepper here. How's it going? I have a message. Who's it from? Hanadins just sent me another replay, but that'll be spoilers, so I'm not going to open that. All right. Let's get this show on the road, huh? Replays. I had to make sure to get an autosave up here, otherwise the first thing would be a spoiler. See that? Round 2, blank versus blank. That'd be bad. So Faction War versus Incarnation. Blood Penguin on Kislev versus Incarnation on the Lizardman. Incarnation is pretty well known at this point for this Lizardman style build, where he does a life Slon with a lot of kiting single entities. Thanks, Ayano. Though versus Kislev, it might be a little tricky because they're hybrid ranged units. Kind of the same reasons you're seeing a lot of Vampire Coast pistol mobs. Kislev's entire front line, except for Zargard having missile attacks, can make kiting them rather hard because they can just walk at you, and if you continue to run away, they'll just stop and shoot every time they get in range. It can be tough. So for the Kislev build, do have Warbear Riders, Boris Ursus and his Patriarch friend for some healing. We have double Little Grom, a Frostmaiden of Tempest, Streltsy, Armored Kossars, Zargard, and Armored Kossars. So two things. One, every game is going to be played on the latest patch. So all of these are up to date. And two, I literally just said it. We have 5 single entities, and the rules after patch 2.3 said only 4. So haha, we already have a rule break, but it's too bad. Too bad and too late to do anything. But if Kislev loses, it doesn't matter. So, oh well. On the Incarnation side, we have a shit ton of skink cohorts. We have 2 ancient salamanders, 1 salamander hunting pack, the Umbral Tide. We have horned ones. 2 horned ones? Why? Okay, but why? I guess that's fine, but why? 4 feral cold ones. Yep, 4 feral cold ones. In the back, we have a revive crystal. We have a Salon Mage Priest of Life that dwells below regrowth and Earthblood. And then we have 1 skink skirmisher in the front. What up, Amenephis? How you doing? So the double little groms are firing at, looks like a lot of stuff. But for now, they're aiming at horned ones. Honestly, a lot of really good targets. And skink skirmishers are just shooting Boris Ursus in the face. He's unshielded, so that's good. 105 armor, though. Me, I'll be the winning faction, then I'll do Doom. It'll be all Doom all day. Horned ones are not real. Only 5 single entities allowed since when? It's new, Lucinia, in the latest patch update. Yeah, it's brand new. Came out with the 2.3 patch. Skaven Day, Skaven take it all, pack it in, losers. Well, then you're voting for me to win, because I'm the only Skaven rep. Meanwhile, the Patriarch got smoked by the Umbral Tide. Just absolutely destroyed. He even pops his Power Blood passive and has to dive into some skink cohorts just to get healing going, and he pops Silly Lullaby. So yeah, he's not having a good time. So Salamander hunting packs are still firing at him, still doing pretty good damage. And meanwhile, the double Ancient Salamanders are firing at this Little Grom, but the Little Grom is firing right back at them, doing plenty of damage himself. Feral Cold Ones and Horned Ones do have a good flanking position. And Lizardmen have an extreme cav superiority. Like, 6 versus 1. There is 1 Warbear to try and mitigate the tide. Both the Zargard units are just walking out into the skinks, determined to fight those little lizards till they die, which will probably be pretty soon, as the Umbral Tide is just going to take their day out on them, plus some Ancient Salamanders as well. Boris Ursus is 1v36, the Horned Ones. I imagine he'll pop his Shard Blade pretty soon and try to do a lot of good damage to them, but we'll have to see. Meanwhile, Incarnation does collapse with his entire cav force. Feral Cold Ones, as well as the Horned Ones, are all armor piercing. They will do very well versus Kislevite infantry. And the Warbear Riders are in here trying to get good value, but they are healing up a little bit because they're next to the Patriarch, who is also healing up this Little Grom that is slowly walking away from the Feral Cold Ones. Now, Boris Ursus is kicking an entire unit of Horned Ones' ass because Horned Ones are shit and I hate them. But of course, I'm not biased at all. Is that a Blizzard? What is with Blizzard? Why do people take Blizzard? Just take Heart of Winter, for God's sake. But it's going to be a 2-for-1 Blizzard on the skink cohorts. It'll do some damage to Zargard, but probably not enough to really be that big of a deal. So it's just killing 2 skinks, which is okay. Maybe you wanted to use it in the cav fight, but it looks like the cav fight's just going really well. Anyway, for Kislev, Jesus Christ. Horned Ones and Feral Cold Ones are getting fucking murdered by Warbear Riders, Armored Kossars. Jesus. How are they losing so bad? Oh my God. Oh well. Patriarch's been healing up this whole thing, and I guess there are Kossars to take some of the hits for the Warbear Riders, who now pop their Fire Blood passive. A regrowth from Incarnation is going to try to save one of his Horned Ones. The other one looks like it is just doomed. Little Grom is surrounded by Feral Cold Ones, but he should be okay. The other Little Grom is actually healthier than we last checked in on because he's next to the Patriarch, but yeah. The cav overload from the Lizardmen is not working out for them, unfortunately. Little Grom is trying to snipe out the Salon Mage Priest of Life, and it looks like it's going alright for him. Salon's down to about half HP. Takes another big chunk there. Ancient Sallies are both healthy after they have some healing. They have tons of ammunition. Salamander Hunting Pack also has a lot of ammo. And it has a really good firing angle on these Zargard and Armored Kossars who are currently clumped up. Big volley! Pretty damage, but oh well. It is what it is. The banishment from the Salon, I would imagine, is coming in here. No, Dwellers Below from the Salon. Okay. I mean, I guess that works. That was a decent Dwellers Below. Still seems weird. I think at this point he would want to focus more on healing because he has a bunch of elite units that are really, really low, and he wants to keep them alive, including, you know, himself. Ancient Sally still firing in, but the Kislevite Warbear Riders will just push off the Horned Ones and Feral Cold Ones, even finishing off the Horned Ones. How are these Horned Ones doing? Healing cap in sight. Dying horrifically. They got decent-ish value on their way out. Boris Ursus is chasing down Slann, Mage Priest of Life. And man, if that Slann dies, it is big doom. Pops the Shard Blade just for fun. I don't know if the Shard Blade does that much damage to single entities, and there are 2 single entities here. Maybe just wanted to clear out the Skink so nothing could block him from running around as he wanted to. Patriarch is getting worked on by all this fire damage, but he has some Zargard buddies, and even the Revivification Crystal is going to dive in here. I imagine it probably just used it. No, it's using regrowth onto this guy. Lots of healing for the lizards. Balance power is dead even. I personally like Kislev's state a lot more. I mean, they're following around the Slann. They can easily take him out. They can even get Warbears onto the Umbral Tide. After that, doesn't look like there's a whole lot the lizards can really do. Patriarch gets routed off by the Sildon, so that's nice. No more healing for Kislev at least. But yeah. I don't know. I don't know what can stop Boris here. Why do Lizardmen Cold Ones suck versus Dark Elf Cold Ones which don't? Probably some difference in stat not being enough for said price. Yeah. Also, Dark Elf Cold Ones get Murderous Prowess and Murderous Mastery, and that kind of stuff. Another Blizzard onto an almost dead Skink unit. I guess it's just a lack of good targets, right? There's not a lot of clumps left to really punish the Blizzard, so the Frost Maiden just chucked it out to deal with the unit. Boris is finishing chasing off the Slann. Lizardmen are routing pretty much everywhere, and it is down to just the 3 single entity dinos. But Incarnation is going to FF. Round 1 goes to Kislev. Does Void count to someone mortal? No, he's an undead faction. What up, Izzy? Zep, yeah, that is technically a unit cap rule break by Penguin, but it's brand new. It's a brand new rule, and neither player called it out, so we're not going to go back in time and fix it. It's too late. Boris Ursus did fine. He did fine. Patriarch did all right. He provided a lot of healing, but man, he got worked on. Blizzard caster, 2 or 3 casts of Blizzard, only 500 value. Fucking classic. Warbear Riders doing Warbear Rider things, 2,900 for them. Both Little Groms. Ooh, actually one Little Grom didn't do that great, but the other one did fine. Zargard did all right. Streltsy did okay, and Armored Kossars were around. How's the pup? Hazel? Hazel's great. Hazel's chilling. Slann Mage Priest did not get a lot of value either. That Dwellers Below was the only damaging spell I saw him cast. Didn't really do that much damage. Revive Crystal was supportive. Ancient Salamanders really struggled to get their value back as well. Horned Ones did well, but you do have to consider how much healing they got, so kind of a mixed bag there, but they were the best thing the Lizards had, it looked like. Feral Cold Ones did well. Umbral Tide did okay, and then Skinks struggled. So, Faction War versus Incarnation. And we'll pop over to the Photoshop real quick to update some things. Boop, boop. Meep. So Kislev will advance over on the right side. Cool, cool. Next game, Black Knight was just in the chat. Maybe we can sneak in his game real quick. Yeah, we can try to sneak in his game real quick, Black. Ironbreakers have so good leadership, maybe they also have Crumbling and no one ever noticed. Do Little Groms count as single entities? Yes. Aren't Salamanders good in multiplayer and campaign? They always feel bad. I would say no, but Incarnation keeps taking them and he keeps making them look fine. Fine or good. So I think, as with most things in this game, I don't think you can just slam in Ancient Salamanders and they'll be good, but I do think if you're specialized with them, you can do good. Black Knight is here. We have some Vanguard shenanigans, so I had to pause the game, make sure I didn't miss anything, but we can cast real quick. We have Drycha for Call HR. I forgot to announce who the Wood Elf player is. Call HR has 5 Dryads, and Drycha. Drycha has just Pit of Shades in her summon. Then we have 1 Waywatcher, 2 Glade Guard with Starfire Shafts. We have the Wild Hunters of Kuranos, plus another Wild Rider, 2 Glade Riders with Spears on the side, and Eternal Guard with Spears along the back. For Black Knight, he always takes Imrik, even before Imrik was good. Did the patch nerf Thoric? Fuck no. Front line is all Spearmen, back line is some Modern Seaguard, plus Archers. We have triple Illyrian Reaver Archers, double Dragon Prince, and I imagine double Illyrian Reaver? Nope, just 1 Illyrian Reaver. And then a Mage of Life with only Regrowth and Earthblood to support Imrik, no Dwellers Below here. Salamanders are really good, no worries. Yeah. Front lines have collided. Dryads should lose to Spears in the long run because of their way superior 50 melee defense. Melee defense does give you a lot of holding power, but we'll see as Drycha is going to throw in a Pit of Shades to really turn that middle fight. Catches some Dragon Princes? Yeah, catches some Dragon Princes and the Spearman, so doing a lot of good damage there, but her Dryads are not faring very well. And Imrik got a pretty good trade onto Drycha. He can leave, because Drycha doesn't have any healing, remember? They don't have a Branch Wraith with Earthblood or anything running around, so Imrik will take trades like that all day. On the other side, Love and Seaguard and Archers are trying to punish the Wood Elves as much as possible before the Wood Elves run over their backline. Wood Elves do have superior melee cavalry, though there are a lot of Illyrian Reaver Archers and there's a Dragon Lord flying around, so the Wood Elves will have to somehow get these Way Watchers really into the fight, and the Wood Elves also have like 2 times as much melee infantry, with the Eternal Guard now walking forward. So we'll see. Way Watchers are targeted onto Imrik. He is rather slippery. And Drycha throws down on the Dryad Summon. So an infantry rush from the Wood Elves, maybe not something you're thematically used to, but it is something that they tend to do. And Imrik is just diving in onto what? Glade Guard, but this lands him right in front of Way Watchers, so this could be a pretty huge mistake, especially if these Glade Riders just dive in onto him. They won't do that much damage, but they just want to keep him on the ground for these Way Watchers to fire at point blank range, but it looks like a little bit of a micro slip up from the Wood Elves and the Dryad. The Eternal Guard, Eternal Glade Guard with Spear Riders will not dive in to keep Imrik on the ground, and he will get a regrowth flying away. Still a good amount of damage onto him, though. Balance power's about even, maybe slightly Wood Elf favored, but the back line, Illyrian Reavers and Dragon Princes are going to peel off Wild Riders. Looks like the High Elves have kept their skirmish cav safe-ish, I guess, but the front line is suffering. And their normal archers are also suffering quite a bit, so we'll see. These Illyrian Reaver archers are going to have to do some serious work in the late game. They've been kept safe, but for what? For what purpose? Another Pit of Shades from Drycha, just trying to clear out these Spearmen that our Dryads are really struggling to get through. I'm worried these Wild Hunters of Kurnos are going to dive into their own Pit of Shades. Alright, looks like they're not going to. Instead, they'll take a fight with Imrik. I think this is a good choice. It's not like they have the Dragonhorn or, Lord of Dragons or anything popped on them. And Way Watchers again are trying to shoot Imrik. Poking him down, we're surrounded by Cav, but we will have a countercharge from the Dragon Princes. That Pit of Shades, ooh. Calichar's going to want that one back. He's going to want that Pit of Shades for right there. That would have been beautiful as another Dragon Prince charges in, but it is on cooldown. It's not there to assist in any way. The Wood Elf Archers are going to have to do some serious work on this blob. It looks like they are. They are really teeing off onto Imrik. Bounce power is still even, maybe even slightly Wood Elf favored, as Illyrian Reaver Archers are getting chased down by Glade Riders' Spears. But in a 3v1, getting shot from all sides, I imagine that Glade Rider will not be super long for this world. Imrik's healing cap is in sight, and I heard the Dragonhorn get popped. So these Illyrian Reavers honestly could just beat the Glade Riders in melee combat now with 56-34 melee stats. They are rather superior. Wood Elf mobility is all but lost. It's down to their infantry core mostly, which they did have more infantry, so it's not exactly surprising this is how it ended up. Drycha is healthy. Imrik is not. Can the Way Watchers get a lot done, or not as much? Illyrian Reavers are going to charge into the back of these Glade Guard. Glade Guard are shockingly good melee combatants, though, with 28 melee defense for an archer unit. That will make them rather sturdy as far as things go. But still, getting rear charged by Illyrian Reavers is not a cakewalk for anybody. At this point, the High Elves start to pull ahead. I would tend to agree. With Imrik getting more and more healing every moment that passes by, there are still Dragon Princes running around. Ooh, one of them's almost dead, but the other one's just fine. And when most of your strength is in archers and infantry and you're left against cavalry, that just sounds like Cyclocharge City, especially if Drycha is about to die, and she is isolated next to some archers. Imrik is going in for another charge. Doesn't have anything popped right now, but he might not need it. Thankfully for Drycha, she gets punted across the world, meaning she lands on the ground, can't get targeted for a little bit, and saves herself some time, but it doesn't look like there's any reinforcements coming at all, so this does just leave her alone versus Imrik and Dragon Princes, currently getting her ass kicked. She will get taken out. That'll be the Wood Elf's Lord and Caster. And this one is looking over. Army losses creeping dangerously close, as all that is left are some Way Watchers with limited ammo and 3 Eternal Guard, which will not be enough. You and HR row Mike the whole time? I see. Fire attack versus High Elves? Looks like a mistake. The Starfire Shafts are brought because they have armor piercing. It was for the armor piercing, but yeah. High Elves do have a pretty good amount of fire resist throughout their roster, so I think you're right. I think you're right that the fire stuff was a mistake, but I could see why it was brought where it's like, yeah, armor piercing's good. We have a lot of fire resist, yeah. Imric, save us from the potential Wood Elf draw kite. Black Knight will advance. High Elves will advance. There is a second Wood Elf player, AC Maiden, in the tournaments. The Wood Elves aren't out just yet. 2,100 value on the Way Watchers of Kal HR. They did quite nicely. Wild Hunters of Kurnos did less well than I would have thought when they surrounded Imric. Thought they would have gotten a lot more value. Starfire Shafts did pay for themselves. Dryads did okay. Eternal Guard, I mean, they did their best, but they struggle. Eternal Guard feel really bad in Warhammer 3. I don't know why. They're one of those units that when I look at their stats, I'm like, that's a good unit. And then when I see them, they just look like trash. Imric, 2,000 value. Dragon Princes did okay. One of them got Shrek'd. Alarian Reavers did well. Mage just healed up Imric a bunch. Spearman did okay. A lot of the Seaguard did fine. Archers did well. So we'll delete that. Black Knight can go back to work. Drag you all over to the Photoshop real quick. Boop, boop. Just take Black Knight's thing, copy, paste, boom. Move it up. 2 down. 14 to go. Now, the second stream we will do later on will be the round of 16 and the round of 8. And the third stream will be the top 4, but it'll be live. It'll be the 2 semifinals, which will be best of 1 land battles. And then the finals will be land battle, dom, land battle, best of 3. Now, some people might be like, why domination? Because I wanted to. And sometimes I get to do what I want to do. All right, I know Ayano is going to bed, so let's get the Grand Cathay game out before they leave. We have Dr. Jellyfish on Grand Cathay versus Golden Floof on the Tomb Kings. Now, this was a tough matchup, I was told, before the patch. But somebody had to fight Cathay, and Golden Floof didn't seem to mind. At the time, these were 2 S-tier factions fighting each other, so shit happens. After the patch, Tomb Kings took a significant nerf. Grand Cathay got barely any nerf at all, if you can even call it one. So this is probably a very, very tough matchup for the Tomb Kings. Let's see if they can prevail. For Cathay and Dr. Jellyfish, we have a Grand Cannon with some Peasant Long Spearmen around here, Jade Warrior frontline, 1 Iron Hail Gunner, 1 Crane Gunner, 2 Jade Lancers. And that's that over there. Double Longbows, one of which is the Righteous Lance of Wei Jin. We have a Dragon-Blooded Shugi, Lord of Yin, with Talons of Night, Ancestral Warriors, and Storm of Shadows. Simple Cathay build. Honestly, more honorable than some of the things you could build with Cathay, so we take those. On the other side for Golden Floof, we do have the Chosen of the Gods, Ushapti Greatbow, not for much longer, but we do have them for right now. We have another basic Ushapti Greatbow and a third one on the far side. We have double Screaming Meme Catapult, 1 Necropolis Knights with Halberds, Ark in the Black running on Fate of Buna, and Spirit Leech, a front line of Skeleton Spearmen and Skeleton Warriors, Kepra Guard on the backfield. That's looking like it. That is looking like it. Ushapti Greatbows taking their day out on the Jade Lancers, but it actually looks like they have extended a little bit too far. There is no support for them out here, and the Jade Lancers are just going to walk up and get some free value on them. So that is probably a bit of a mistake. Meanwhile, all the Longmas are diving in on a Screaming Meme Catapult. They are surrounding the Necropolis Knights, though you would think Necropolis Knights might actually do okay here. They're taking a ton of damage, and Ancestral Warrior Summon in here is not going to help at all for those poor guys. The Ushapti Greatbows are actually pulling back a lot faster than I would have thought possible, so they are going to get away from the Jade Lancers, who are now sprinting into infantry. Dr. Jellyfish realizes this is the last moment and starts to peel off. Chosen the Gods are stuck in melee combo Jade Lancers, but their leadership is already faltering, because without the Harmony bonus, Cathay isn't actually that crazy on the leadership spectrum. Necropolis Knights are almost dead. They cannot get healing because there's no Necrotech nearby, but it does look like Ark in the Black is going to throw out a Fate of Buna onto the Righteous Lances of Wei Jin for a little bit of revenge. Cathay is up on the balance of power, and I would tend to agree. Chosen the Gods are very, very damaged, as are the quite expensive Necropolis Knights. But on the other side, both Longbow Riders did take a lot of work, all to kill a Screaming Skull Catapult, to be fair. But I don't know. I still really like how Cathay is doing in this game. The Righteous Lances of Wei Jin are routed. Necropolis Knights are starting to crumble down. Go, Floof, go. A message from the past Floof to encourage him to defeat Grand Cathay. Chosen the Gods still getting focused down. Longbows are diving into him while cannon fire still comes in from the side. Skeleton Warriors are trying to zone out Jade Lancers while the Yin Lord just dives in on Screaming Skull Catapult, determined to take things into her own hands. You can see Golden Floof did deploy it down in a pit so that the cannon can't counterfire it, so it is up to some sort of melee interaction to take it out because the ranged can't see. Ancestral Warrior Summon does fade on the far side. as does the Chosen of the Gods, but at great cost, because both Longmas are really feeling the heat now. Golden Floof is trying to punish the Yin Lord on the ground with his Ushapti Great Bows, but they are currently obstructed because I guess they can't see or past the catapults, which sucks for them. And with the Jade Lancer charge, they are all going to back out and rely on Crumbling to finish off the Screaming Skull catapult, which it does. Tomb Kings are down both of their catapults. They're down one of their 3 Ushapti, and their Necropolis Knights are very, very injured. As for Cathay, all of their cavalry has taken some punishment, but honestly not a ton, and they used 1 summon. Things are looking good so far for Cathay. Dr. Jellyfish, realizing his opponent has no cavalry whatsoever, like no Skeleton Horsemen, no Nekar Horsemen, he has just left his cannon in the backfield all alone, pushed up with his infantry to pressure his opponent. This is pretty good, because your opponent would have to just walk all the way over there with skeletons, and then it's not worth your time defending it with 1 infantry piece or whatever, so Cathay is just running up to get into the melee. Crane Gunners are also firing at the Ushapti Great Bows, and the second Ancestral Warrior Summon comes out, harassing down the Ushapti Great Bows along with the Great Longma Riders. Yee. And these are ethereal, so remember that the Ancestral Warrior Summon has 100% armor piercing, which is pretty brutal as far as constructs go. Constructs are squishy. They just rely on their armor and being undead to stay alive. Arc in the Black does get into melee combo with the Dragon-Blooded Shugi Lord, who currently has 75% physical resistance, and he does do physical damage, so she is rather tanky in this moment, but she does need to try and get out of there. Grain Gunners still harassing down the Ushapti Great Bows that are getting worked on by the Ancestral Warriors. And the Yin Lord is sick of this shit, and she's going to throw down a quick Talons of Night to clear out these Skeleton Spearmen and let her out. Because she is on a Longma mount, which is essentially a Pegasus, meaning she has like almost 0 mass, and even infantry can just bog her down. So she needs to clear them out to get out of here. Longma Riders are throwing away their lives to try and make sure these Ushapti Great Bows die with them. They will probably get friendly fired by a cannon here any moment, and rout off shortly afterwards. There they go, they're routed off. ROR Longmas up in the sky, hanging out, plenty of HP as far as they're concerned, and Crane Gunners plus the cannons are trying to finish off the last of Golden Floof's Ushaptis. Without the Ushaptis, we are relying on just skeleton spam, only one of which is a Tomb Guard, which is a tough nut to crack. First good news for the Tomb Kings in a while is the Dragon-Blooded Shugi Lord took a lot of damage, and Arc in the Black could maybe just... Excuse me, had a bit of a hiccup there. Could just Spirit Leech her down to death, maybe. But I don't know if that's even going to be enough to win the game. She's already used both of her summons. She's used the Talon of Night, so she's used a lot of Winds of Magic. It's not like she's sitting on full WOM or anything. And Cathay does have Crane Gunners with plenty of ammo, Iron Hail Gunners. The Ushapti summon from the Tomb Kings is out. It is used to kill off the Grand Cannon, though I think Dr. Jellyfish is happy with that trade, honestly. His Grand Cannon has killed almost everything it can. The only thing left that it can shoot at is the Ushapti Great Bows, and they're almost dead. So maybe they're just fine with that. Big Talons of Night cast. That is definitely an overcast onto the Kepler Guard, and I am shocked how much Winds of Magic this lady has been able to pump out in 6 minutes. 32, 46, 67 Winds of Magic usage in 6 minutes. Good God, lady. It's mostly because of Jade Amulet and Arcane Conduit paired up, but still, wow, that is oppressive. What up, Butcherbird? You don't see how Tomb Kings can win this matchup? Yeah, somebody told me it was a tough matchup, but Goldfloof didn't seem to mind. I mean, like, I gave the players their round 1 matchups, and then no one complained about what they got. So that's how we determined it. But yeah, Grand Cathay is a tough one. Because they're so, like... I don't know. There's not a lot of close matchups. There's Skaven, which is favored, and then everything else is Grand Cathay favored, I think. Maybe VC. Maybe. But... yeah. Cast on Skellies might have been regular. I think the cast on Skellies was regular. Yeah, I factored that in. Because 14 plus 21 is 35, and then 2 16s is 32, so that's how I got to 67. At this point, Balance of Power is slightly Cathay favored, though I think it should be very Cathay favored. Crane Gunners still have a lot of ammunition, though it looks like Arkin is actually just sprinting at them. I don't know how many Spirit Leeches he has left or anything, but maybe if he has like a Fate of Una that he can just chuck on the Crane Gunners and delete them, maybe Golden Floof has a shot. Iron Hail Gunners have full ammunition, full HP. These Ushapti have stopped crumbling now, but we do have Jade Lancers sprinting straight at them, so that will be a bit of a problem. And Golden Floof is scrapping back. Tomb Kings desperately need a leadership buff. Ideally in the 4 to 5 range. You're such a troll. Alright. Arc in the Black with the Skeleton Summon does manage to rout off the Crane Gunners. Golden Floof. Ooh, even follows up with the Spirit Leech. He really wants those Crane Gunners dead. Elsewhere, the Kepler Guard are grinding through some Jade Warriors who have lost their Harmony bonus because the only ranged units are these Iron Hail Gunners and the Crane Gunners who are now getting pushed away. And without Harmony, Cathay is pretty standard. So now Jade Warriors are strong, but not, like, incredible anymore. Golden Floof is going to lose the last of his Shopty Great Bows. They will make sure they all die. Iron Hails are trying to get off a point-blank shot into Arc in the Black, but his Skellies block some of it. These are real Skellies. These aren't a summon. His summon's way back here, apparently. So, Arkin is going to chase them off. Crane Gunners are officially shattered. The Shugi Lord of Yin is looking real low. Does Arkin feel like sprinting out there and throwing a spear? Oh my god, he took so much damage sprinting at that Iron Hail Gunner. That was like a quarter of his HP. Shugi Lord gets in range just for one quick Talons of Night. It is probably undercast at this point, but Arc in the Black overcasts the Spirit Leech onto her, dealing damage to himself in the process. I was a little worried about that, but he didn't really want to leave the fight. He does get her real low. Real low. She is going to break, but will she die? No, she does not die, and she has low negative leadership, so she'll probably rally in a little bit here. Iron Hail Gunner's taking a lot of damage, but they did reform a firing line. They're going to fire at Arc in the Black even while he's in melee combat with part of their unit. Ouch! Takes a bunch of damage. Elsewhere, the Tomb Kings are running out of juice. The Kepler Guard are about to die. Skeleton Spearmen are about to die, leaving Arc in the Black all alone. And as far as Cathay games go, it was a close one. But it looks like Dr. Jellyfish will reign supreme. Part of me wishes Tomb Kings wins, but you did bet on Grand Cathay. Floof is going to get out one more Skeleton Summon onto the Iron Hail Gunners. Arc in the Black is still vibing, but as soon as these Peasant Long Spears join the fight, he is in real trouble. Peasant Long Spears can absolutely crush large targets. Empire modded to pointy sticks, boards, sharper sticks, horsies, bird horsies. Hi, Butch Bird. You feel somewhat less sick than yesterday's progress? Yeah. I find myself running out of breath a lot right now. I think I'm going to caught something when Grace and I traveled for Thanksgiving. Army losses is going to hit for Golden Floof here now that especially Arkin is crumbling. And there it is. He needed Purple Sun. Everyone knows how OP it is. It used to be actually rather strong when you could kind of guide where it went, but after that's gone, it sucks. And Floof put up a hell of a fight, but Grand Cathay and Dr. Jellyfish will advance forward. Yin Lady got 1300 value. Longma's got very little value as they dove in on two high value assets, but they saved the rest of their army a lot of problems. Cannons and Crane Gunners got a little bit of value. They did just fine. Jade Lancers struggled to get their value back. Jade Warriors also struggled to get value back. Crane Gunners, wow, not Crane Gunners. Iron Hail Gunners did very well. Peasants did fine. For Golden Floof, Arc in the Black did incredibly well. Necropolis Knights with Halberds honestly did alright as well. Shopty Great Bows struggled to get their value out. They were heavily targeted. So did the Screaming Skull Catapults. So really good target priority there from Dr. Jellyfish. And his Skeleton Warriors just did what they had to. But all things considered, this was a fun, non-cancerous Cathay build. Yeah. Cathay can be fun. The reason so many people hate Cathay is how many of their not fun bullshit builds are viable. But this one from Dr. Jellyfish was like a fine build to spectate. Yeah, it's pretty good. So get rid of that one real quick. Pop over to L Photoshop down the bottom left here. Dr. Jellyfish will advance over Golden Floof. Well played to both players. And we go back. Lucidia's in the chat, so let's just try to find that game, huh? Somewhere in here. Lizardman versus Korn, round 1. Yeah, this is you. This is Lucinia in the chat. He is Pegaz, I believe. Correct me if I'm wrong, good sir. We also have ODM Loopy on the Lizardman. Loopy's not normally a Lizardman player. He normally plays the Elves, but when we had some holes to fill in the faction war, I just went to my admins and said, hey, anybody want to play these couple factions? And Loopy volunteered to play the Lizardman for us. That was very nice of him. But you might say, that's not fair. You're just giving positions out to your admins. One, there was 2 qualification tournaments that no one filled those slots, so people had their chance. And 2, you know what? The admins work very hard. They work very hard to make the Vermin League ladder good for everybody. And sometimes they just get a little bit of a perk. And you know what? Fuck it. Fuck it, they deserve it. For Lucinia, we have triple Flesh Hounds of Khorne on the far side. On this side, we have double Marauder Horsemen of Throwing Axes, a front line of Marauders of Khorne, a secondary line of Chaos Warriors of Khorne with dual weapons and halberds, and then we have 2 Minotaurs of Khorne with a great weapons variant, and we have a Herald of Khorne on his Little Blood Shrine mount for some healing, and he gives a bunch of AoE buffs. What up, Loopy? I forgot, honestly, dude, I started out the stream and said I was going to save this game for later because you were going to come back, and then I forgot because I saw Lucinia in chat and we had cast a couple games, and I was like, I'll just cast his game since he's here. Since when is Loopy Lucinia? Loopy is versus Lucinia. On the other side for Loopy, we have Chameleon Skinks mixed with Skink Skirmishers, a bunch of Skink cohorts of Javelins, regular Skink cohorts, Feral Cold Ones, Spear Riders, more Feral Cold Ones, more Cold Ones, Spear Riders, Tic-Tac-Toe in the sky, with Ripperdactyl Riders, an Ancient Salamander on the ground, a Skink Priest of Heavens in the sky with Curse of Midnight Wind and Harmonic Convergence. Interesting, no Thunderbolt. Looks like we have double Ancient Salamander. So it's Ancient Salamander Kite and Skink Kite versus Khorne. Okay. Ooh, this is going to be tough for the Lizardmen. Ancient Salamander is caught by the Minotaurs with anti-large, and they are going to get an absolute beatdown going. And the Lizardmen, unlike Incarnation's build we saw earlier, these Lizardmen don't have a Revive Crystal, they don't have a Life Salon or anything, so any damage that lands on them will stick. The Ancient Salamander will get away, but this will force Cold Wind Spear Riders to commit into the fight with Marauders, and these Minotaurs, you can see they are not having a good time whatsoever. They're trading back okay onto the Minotaurs, but overall, not well for them. On the far side, Loopy is getting some good fights with Feral Cold Ones and Cold Wind Spear Riders fighting Flesh Hounds, though actually that looks like that is going the Flesh Hound direction. Over here is going better with the Marauder Horsemen of Khorne getting caught up by Feral Cold Ones, so a little bit of a micro mistake there. Meanwhile, other Minotaurs of Khorne are teaming up with the Herald of Khorne. He's giving them as many buffs as he can to get through here, but there's a whole bunch of skirmishers trying to make their lives miserable, and Tic-Tac-Toe and the Ripperdac Riders have dove in. Can the Minotaurs clean up these Skinks fast enough to come over here and help out the Herald? It does not look like so. They are taking a lot of damage in this fight, but they will clear out the Skinks. They need to immediately come over and help out with this fight. The center fight has gone very well for Khorne. You can see a ton of Marauders and Chaos Warriors just piled up, and the Minotaurs do push through, doing a little bit more damage to the Ancient Salamander, but now going back for some Skinks. Flesh Hounds pushed off the Cold Wind Spear Riders, but are losing the Feral Cold Ones and Skink cohort support. The Skirmish Cav for Lucinia is pushed off. Ripperdactyls of Loopy are pushed away by the Minotaurs. Minotaurs are now chasing after that Ancient Salamander. And the Herald of Khorne is honestly overextending after all these skirmishers, taking a lot of damage. He's not getting too much done in return, but looks like one Ancient Salamander may be dead. The other one is also not looking the freshest. One Flesh Hound of Khorne is left in a 3v1 with Lizards, and the Lizards are slightly up on the bounce power, though the bounce power always hates Khorne, so honestly this is a fine place for Khorne to be. I'm not saying it's looking good for Khorne, but it's not... I'd say the game state is pretty even right now. Because Loopy's front line is taking a fucking beating. And the Salamanders are running out of places to run. This is looking real scary right now. The Salamander is running past the other Minotaur, hoping beyond all hope that the Minotaurs are too busy with that one to really mind it. But then he stops to take a shot. What a bold man. But he is not actually going to go through with it. He's just going to keep scurrying away as these Minotaurs lose the plot, hitting some Cold Wind Spear Riders briefly and deciding that's the new target they want to hit. Tic-Tac-Toe and the Ripperdactyls deciding that this Herald all by himself looks like fresh fish and trying to catch him up before he gets to the rest of his Khorne front line. Skirmish Cav are back. Very injured, but trying to get a couple axes out before they get caught once more. One Ancient Salamander is routing and probably dead. Flesh Hounds of Khorne did successfully chase off some Cold Ones, but yeah, this is going to be a problem. Lucinia needs to send some reinforcements over for the Herald of Khorne. It does not look like he's going to really notice what's going on. Not in time anyway, and now the crumbling is going to start. And this is not undead. This crumbling will kill him off very quickly. And that is the end of the Herald of Khorne. That's a big loss. Big loss there. Little bit of a mistake. So far, this has been a really good game by both players, but the Herald of Khorne definitely just needed a little more support, a little more love, a little more help. He is gone. Khorne doesn't suffer from too many leadership issues, but Minotaurs don't have the highest leadership in the game, so a big hit like that to them. Lord recently died is -16, so That's pretty rough. Also, the healing of the Lord was nice. I guess it was only for himself, but still, Lord provided a lot of melee attack buffs, so it's just like, it's never good to lose your Lord, obviously. High level analysis there. Never good to lose your Lord. Minotaurs here are fighting to the very end, trying to fend off all these people, but double feral cold ones will get broken off here, leaving just one to fight. Now the Minotaurs are feeling a little bit better about the situation. So a lot of kiting left from Loopy. Skink Skirmish and Chameleon Skinks have a good amount of ammo, and while the Skirmish Cav of Khorne try to dive in and just get into melee with them, it does not quite work and they are pushed off. Minotaurs rampaging. Leadership does spike negative, and the Ripterdactyls plus Tic-Tac-Toe will be able to peel them off. We do have some Chaos Warriors of Khorne with Halberds coming in, so all of these large units are going to want to get away from here, and it looks like they will slowly but surely kite away. We have a bit of kite, since this is a replay, I can play at ×2 speed, as we watch the Sallies and all the Skinks run around, doing some good kiting. Getting a little close to getting caught here for Loopy. A little bit of miss micro, but it looks like he is going to squeak out. No. A couple Chameleon Skinks will get caught up in Marauders, but they can just keep force pathing away. Fleshhounds of Khorne are caught by the Ripterdactyls. Though it actually looks like they might be the ones doing the catching. Fleshhounds immediately just dive onto the Ancient Salamander after that. Tic-Tac-Toe is going to try and go in and help it along with the Ripterdactyls, but man, Relentless Rage has even popped on them, so these Fleshhounds can't start crumbling away or anything, or even lose models. They're really after that Ancient Salamander. They realize it has a good amount of ammo left and can do a lot of damage to these Marauders and Chaos Warriors of Khorne. So, yeah. Really want to take them out. Plus, these Minotaurs are rather impressive. There are the Fleshhounds. The Unbreakable wears off, and they officially crumble away. Things are looking real rough for Khorne. Now, I will say the Skink Kite is almost out of ammo. Salamander has 12 shots left. And after that, these Minotaurs could probably kill everything left. Back to ×2 as we get a little bit more kite. Khorne clumping up a little bit too much as those shots going to get some 2-for-1 action. And some Chameleon Skinks throw their body into the fray to buy some times for this Ancient Salamander, but I also think to clump up some infantry units for them. But it looks like all the ammunition that's left is going to go into the Minotaurs as Loopy even goes for a Vanguard attempt onto them, jumping down with Ripterdactyls and Tic-Tac-Toe and Curse the Midnight Wind, just trying to lower their stats so much, and it does work. Their leadership breaks and they will run, and now everything is running and army losses is close for Khorne. Is it just yours? Is the Sally not dealing damage? It doesn't deal a ton. It doesn't deal a ton. It doesn't have great armor piercing. But it is mobile for kiting. It does punish blobs. It lowers your leadership, gets things to route faster because it is being attacked by an artillery unit, so still. You're sad you forgot to upload your prediction. You knew Lucinia was going to win? Yeah. And he definitely did win. You're definitely not reading that screen wrong. Though he did put up a hell of a fight. I'd say some mistakes with the Herald was pretty much it. Khorne played really well except for letting their Skirmish Cav get caught too many times at the start. And their Herald kind of went rogue for a little bit there. Yeah. This was a really fun game. Could have gone either way if I hadn't thrown away mobility. Yeah. It was a good game. It was good, because if that Salamander... If that, like, Tic-Tac-Toe charge hadn't worked on your Minotaurs, they probably could have cleaned up everything, but it did. Tic-Tac-Toe and the Herald did fine. The Herald didn't get a lot of... the Skink Priest of Heaven. Didn't get a lot of value, but both his spells were buffs and debuffs, so you're not going to get a ton of value. Ripterdactyls did great. Sally did okay. Cold and Spear Riders suck. Gotta hate them. They're terrible. Chameleon Skinks and Skink Skirmishers did excellently. Feral Cold Ones did very well. Skink Cohorts did what they had to. So it's good. From Pegaz / Lucinia, whatever you want to call them. Herald was supportive, but didn't get a lot of value. Marauders did okay. Chaos Warriors struggled to get value. Minotaurs of Khorne tried their best to carry. So did the Fleshhounds. They did really well. And the Skirmish Cav struggled. But the Skirmish Cav are important if your opponent goes like Dino Blob, you know? So the Skirmish Cav was a good pick. It got kited or attacked by not Fleshhounds. Kited or attacked by Feral Cold Ones in melee, which is not what you want to happen. So in the bracket, we'll hop up to that top left corner. Give Loopy his W. Move up slightly. Boom. And then, since we're here, I will do this. Warlord will advance over Platypus. Platypus had some family in for Thanksgiving for the holidays, so he did have to concede. It's a little unfortunate, but it did happen, and, you know, life happens. So it's fine. We had Blood Penguin as another Kislev representative, so it's not like an entire faction just got fucked. You know, it's like, well, at least we have another Kislev. So I'm hoping Platypus is having a good holidays. How did Warriors of Chaos do? Hasn't played yet. Hasn't played yet. They're not the same, Zypher. Silly. Sir Groots is here. I guess I could cast his game. Sure, why not? Let's go find it. VC versus Warriors of Chaos. Sir Groot is in chat versus Void Lulls. My tournament favorite for sure. Warriors of Chaos versus Vampire Counts. This is, as I've said, post-patch. This is patch 2.3. Void Lulls versus Sir Groot. Sir Groot and I were playing this match a bit as he was trying to figure it out. I was on for perfect predictions. Curse you, Thanksgiving. I'm sorry, Bowmore. He did have to go. For Sir Groot, his build is smaller, so easier to cast. We have 6 Skirmish Cav, 2 of which are Marauder Horsemen of Tzeentch, the rest are Marauder Horse Masters, it looks like. Then we have 2 Hellstriders of Slaanesh. In the back, we do have our Marauder to keep... I think it's to get your model count over 600, over 400, right? Nah, it was just you had the money for Marauders, it looks like. Double Exalted Hero up on their Manticores, one of which has an item. What is that item? I've never seen it. Doom Totem, -4 leadership. Oh, okay, gets him crumbling faster. Then we have Be'lakor with Dark Master, Shadow Shroud, Melkoth's Enfeebling Foe, and Pit of Shades. Alright. Tell human monkeys that they're monkeys, that's my opinion. Hey, Phoenix King. This isn't starting at 7? I don't know. It's all replays, so I started it early. I have some stuff to do today. For Void Lulls, we do have the Blood Dragon Vampire Lord. I could tell that by the Helm of Discord, though. He sent me this replay, so it's in Russian, so you can see a lot of the Lord names get fucked up because the translation software doesn't know what it's doing. But we do have all of his normal combat buffs plus Invocation and a Hack, Zombie Summon, and Van Hell's Dance Macabre. Felbats and Vargeist in the sky, one of which is the Devils of Schwarzhof and ROR. On the ground, we do have a Necromancer with Gaze of Nagash and Forbidden Rod. We also have 1 Blood Knight, a whole bunch of Zombos, some Skeleton Spearmen, more Zombos, the Dire Pack, 1 Crypt Horror, and that is it. Just because I had money left to help fulfill attacking rules, yeah. Also, Sir Groots, when you and I were practicing this matchup, hey, Sir Groots, when you and I were practicing this matchup, I was pretty close. I was pretty fucking close with what Void was gonna bring, wasn't I? Look at it! Look at it! Look at how fucking close I was! I was so close! He didn't bring... I brought Blood Knight and double Black Knight to chase down your skirmishers. But, like, aside from that, where did he lose the money for the double Black Knight? He spent it somewhere. He has an extra Crypt Horror, where I had 2 Black Knights. He has an extra Crypt Horror. His Necromancer has Gaze of Nagash, and mine didn't. And he has Van Hell's Dance Macabre. Other than that, he got the Tithe, an extra 100 gold on his zombies. But I was pretty fucking close to what he would bring. I'm so proud of that. Because Sir Groots wanted to practice. I'm like, I think Void will bring something like this. Alright. We do have a bit of kiting going on. Hellstriders tried to get a free charge onto some zombies, but they really don't do that much damage to zombie-type units, and the Dire Pack is going to chase them out. Dire Pack will do a shit ton of work on them, but it looks like Void is going to pull back now that a lot of the skirmishers are in the area. He just wants to get back towards his Necromancer where we can get some free healing, that sort of thing. He also doesn't want to take the Sky Fight just yet versus all this stuff. Versus the Necromancers and Exalted Heroes and, not Necromancer, sorry, Be'lakor and the Exalted Heroes. Looks like Void is actually going to try to take the fight. He pops a Helm of Discord onto the Exalted Hero, and he is chasing him, but I do worry that, like, Be'lakor is just going to throw a Dark Master on you, and then minus 40 melee attack is pretty huge. So, Void's going to back off. Dire Pack has been secured. Hellstriders charge in and do a lot of damage to those Crypt Horrors. Really good stuff there from Sir Groots. Now, unfortunately, the same thing with the Vampire Counts always applies. Anything good you do, you have to finish up, otherwise they'll just back off and heal. But Still, that was a really good Hellstrider charge. This could be a bit of a mistake. Some of his skirmish cap almost gets caught up, but it is going to get away, and it looks like Void is backing off anyway. Didn't want to overextend for any of that. But we do have a bit of the push and pull that this matchup usually entails. Even in Warhammer 2, this matchup was skirmish cav and as few model counts as possible, plus a sky blob versus vampire counts withstanding it and hoping you run out of ammo eventually and have to come fight them. Plan ×2 for a little bit, as Hellstriders are going to get picked off by Vargeist on the far side, but it looks like a big trade, and this could be pretty huge. Void's only source of passive healing is this Necromancer, and Sir Groots identifies that he is alone in a rare potential mistake from Void. Now the Vargeists are going to dive down, but I wonder if there's a Pit of Shades to punish. Pit of Shades could do a lot of damage, and it looks like Void has realized that it's just not worth the fight at all, and he is going to back off, because there's also a lot of skirmish cav nearby that could throw in on those Vargeists. This could be a pretty big mistake. Scroll of Shielding thrown down on the Necromancer, just trying to buy time as the Blood Dragon Vampire Lord comes over. The Blood Knights come over, and now the shoe is on the other foot. Your time has ended, but Be'lakor actually reinvests into the fight, and there has to be a Pit of Shades now. Look at that blob. Look at that. Look at it. It has to be Pit of Shades. Look. Hey. Void said the Necro was a bait, by the way. Void's a liar. All right. I'll believe you this time. No Pit of Shades. I think it would have been juicy, but maybe he didn't have the Winds of Magic. Maybe it was on cooldown. Maybe he just didn't do it. Vargeists are going to dive down onto the triple hero blob. One is caught on the ground, and now Blood Knights are going to surround him. Again, no Pit of Shades. I am really surprised. Now, I'm sure Void will probably dodge it, but look how much damage he's taking. Like, the Pit of Shades is just a fuck off. Fuck off and let me back into the Sky spell. Pit of Shades! Pit of Shades! Hey, there's the Pit of Shades. Void is going to start peeling away now, though it looks like it'll still catch quite a few models in it. Doing pretty decent damage, though it is now Monstrous Infantry. Most of the Blood Knights would have taken the most damage, and they're kind of getting away. Some of them are still taking a lot of damage. The Skirmish Cav are also going to try and punish the blob, but that is one Exalted Hero dead. Didn't have the micro for it? Oh, I see, Sir Groots. I see. It's bananas that worry me. Hellstrider's going to dive in, try and hurt some zombies for fun while the blob's here, but I do worry that they're about to get collapsed on. And Void is going to just dive straight on over to them. Now, there are a bunch of Hellstriders and Skirmish Cav over here that could help out, but it looks like he's not going to commit even more resources to that fight, so he's just going to fuck off. Blood Dragon Lord is getting a dive down here. He has Heart Piercing and the Sword of Heroes, plus a Helm of Discord. That is 1,000 weapon strength, and he is just murdering that Exalted Hero. He's taking some damage from the Skirmish Cav, but I think he is worth it, because he can just back off and get healing after this, and that Exalted Hero cannot. And those were two really, really big hits. Balance of power is about even, though I think Void has a pretty good lead in this game. One Exalted Hero is entirely dead. Skirmishers have used a lot of their ammunition. These guys are all at like half, and these guys are near a quarter or under, but one of them's around half. Hellstriders are looking beat up, and Void's fine. Void's fine. He hasn't lost anything he cared about. His Necromancer's alive. His Blood Knights are alive. His Vargeists are currently healing up. His Cryptors are currently healing up. He's just fine. Back to ×2 for a little bit till we get a decisive engagement, but a little bit of kiting. Sir Groots is keeping his distance. Trying to fulfill the attacking rule, but doesn't want to waste any of his ammunition on zombies, which is why Void is just like, shoot my zombies. Shoot them. See what happens. Punk ass. A little bit of running around. The longer it takes Chaos to find the right targets, the more time Void just gets to heal for free. Blood Knights do get a pretty good charge onto Hellstriders that were trying to get a free pick onto Cryptors, but doesn't look like it's going to work out. Marauders get caught and picked off. Vampire counts are pushing out. Blood Knights are just taking on Hellstriders because they're 110 armor. Will keep them safe. Hellstriders have anti-large, but not armor piercing. They are only 600 gold, for God's sakes. 650, I think, after this patch, but whatever. Both Hellstriders are going to get pushed off. Chaos is down on the balance of power. They're still skirmishing out a little bit. They're running low on ammunition. Both Hellstriders are routed. Marauders are routed, though they'll all come back off in the distance. Devils of Schwarzhofen taking some pretty good volleys from Sir Groots, getting good hits onto him, and they are going back for some healing. Be'lakor and the Exalted Hero opting into a fight completely alone, though. There's no other flyers nearby, of course, and there's obviously no healing, so it's not like they can just bait in and go out. Marauders are, in fact, shattered on the far side, and Blood Knights get a massive charge onto Marauder Horsemasters, who, to be fair, are out of ammo, so they just use their bodies as a blocker. It looks like these other Marauder Horsemasters are going to try to use their last two volleys on all of the Vargeists, but look at these Vargeists, full HP on them. Healing cap coming in for the Devils of Schwarzhofen. They've gotten a ton of healing off, and the Blood Dragon Lord is very, very healthy as well. Just treating it as training, yeah. Little bit more kite. But as Sir Groot says in chat, and as I feel about this, I do think Void is in a pretty commanding position. He has everything he wants still alive, and it's still healing up. And Groot's is just running out. This is how the matchup usually goes. Groot's taking some free charges onto these Skeleton Spearmen, just trying to get a little bit of damage out. Exalted Hero is going to get chased down by the Blood Dragon Lord, but he just backs off, using some more ammo from the Warriors of Chaos. They have 3 Skirmish Cav that even have any ammunition left now. Be'lakor Pit of Shades on some zombies. We have some attempted harass from Marauder Horsemasters on the edge on some zombies, but it's not really going to work out. Hellstriders get dove on once again. Those guys have broken a lot, so I imagine they'll shatter if they break one more time. Be'lakor and the Exalted Hero are hovering around, more charging in from the Skirmish Cav, just trying to take out more zombies, but it really will not amount to very much. When are you going to release the results? This started sooner than I would have thought. What? I don't know, man. Just, like, chill out for a second. Alright, bit more skirmishing. Be'lakor and the Exalted Hero fight the Devils with Schwarzhoff, and they are doing good damage there, but the Blood Dragon Lord is also doing good damage onto Be'lakor, and it will end. Void's Lord, 2,300 value. Devils of Schwarzhoff and the Vargeist didn't quite pay for themselves, but they were just threats and stuff. Strat told me I should have done that harass at the start, but I never did. Oh. Happens. 2,000 on the Blood Knights as well. Be'lakor, 3,200 value. Exalted Heroes did not get a lot, but they were just Bellacor's bodyguards up in the sky, so they got mostly kited out. Skirmish Cav got really good value, but remember, the Vampire counts had so much healing, you kind of have to get like double your value to really pay off. But it was a good one from Void. Viewer number 53 signing on. Nice. For my results of the bracket. Yeah. So, this is what I said, but just hold on a second, Cyrus. So we've been tracking it as it goes. So, we're updating the Photoshop again. Void does advance right there. And as for Cyrus, you can either back up the stream and just go watch them, or, like I said, we are updating this as every game goes on. Let's watch... What have we not seen? Let's watch Hanadan's. Hanadan's a big JP. Demons of Chaos and Beastmen. Let's go. Trying to figure out what we haven't seen today. Don't do repeats just yet. How are we all doing? Hungry as fuck, but getting solved shortly. Good. Get yourself some food. Alright. Alright. With more time to train, it could have been better, but I was happy with it. Yeah, I mean, Void's played that matchup a bajillion times. He did pretty good. That's how that matchup goes. Like, the fact that he had, like, full health at the end of the game doesn't mean it wasn't close. It just means that, like, you know, he did the healing thing. Like, the whole game with the Vampire counts is can you burst them rather than whittle them? Because if you whittle them, they'll out-heal you. Is Demons of Chaos any good multiplayer? Like... No, I would consider them to be the worst faction, but good players who play a lot of the faction can make them quite good, and they have matchups where they can be good. And Hanadan's is a very, very top tier player. Like, I would say A+ tier, and Void, like, if Void, Mofet are like S tier, Alfredino in his prime is like an S tier, right? Hanadan's is A+. So you're watching like one of the best players in the scene right now play them. So, yeah. Like, no faction is so bad that they're unwinnable. It's just, if you play the Demons of Chaos, you normally have to outplay your opponent to win, right? But this matchup was designed to be even. When I did the faction war stuff, I tried to make as many even matchups as possible. And while the Demons of Chaos have less than ideal infantry and stuff, Beastmen hate Blue Fire of Tzeentch, which you'd see Hanadan's did bring, so this matchup is probably considered even between the two. Probably. Maybe Demons of Chaos slightly favored, but oh well. As for the builds, I gotta shut up and hurry up with this. We do have a whole bunch of Ungor herds, including the Blackhorns, Ravagers, Gore herd. We have a Bray Shaman of Beasts with just Flagadoom. We have Morgan the Shadowgave with both his Chaos Spawn Summons. We have a Bray Shaman of Wilds with only Traitorkin. Then we have the Mino Bus, Minotaurs with great weapons, some Minotaurs with shields, including the Butcher's Kelengard, and one Centigore from RTK's Big JP. We also have 2 Harpies in the sky. On the side of the Demons of Chaos, we have double Plague Bearer of Nurgle. We have the Festering Stooges Exalted Plague Bearer ROR. We do have the Barons of the Bog Pox Riders. That the ROR does give... God damn it. Let me see. They do give Vigor per second, and they also give minus 25% damage to everyone around them. Then we have a whole bunch of Blue Horrors and a backline of Fleshhounds of Khorne, 2 Screamers in the sky, and we do have Svarak, the Feathered Prince with blue and pink fire of Tzeentch. Now, Hanadins is a very, very good Tzeentch player, so it makes sense to me that when he plays Demons of Chaos, he would pick the Tzeentchian-style Lord. Harpies from Big JP, just trying to harass Svarak a little bit. As long as the Screamers aren't in position to really punish them, might as well get some value, but it doesn't look like it's really going to go the way, and they will back off before the Blue Horrors tee off on them too much. Now, the Beastmen doing a bit of a careful advance here. It looks like they're setting up a surround instead of just charging straight in, and their flanks would be a bit behind. So I do appreciate this from Big JP, but the longer you wait, the more blue fires that are going to get cast. Morgur is a pretty smart pick when you're worried about getting spell kited. He does have spell resist, he has missile resist, and he has regeneration, all of which does make him rather good against blue fire. He has a little bit of fire weakness, but it's not enough to overcome all those other things. Destroyers of Drakwold get fucked up by an overcasted pink fire. Good lord, that did a lot of damage. Svarak is up to 900 damage value so far, but he has used a lot of Winds of Magic, and this is Demons of Chaos, not Tzeentch, so they don't have as much Winds of Magic to fuck around with. They don't have a tier 1 armor ability that gives them more or anything like that. Beastmen are starting to move up now. The Mino bus is thinking about getting engaged. They're walking all on over, and blue fire is going to riddle them from the Blue Horrors, but Destroyer's Drakwold will get pushed off while the Minotaurs get in for real. Now, Harpies are infantry size, meaning the Screamer's anti-large bonus will not help them, but Hanadins immediately lands the Screamers to try and drag them to the ground where the Fleshhounds can come over and help out, but it looks like these blue Horrors are sacrificed as the other Blue Horrors and the Barons of the Bog will get a charge onto those Minotaurs. While Big JP is having issues on the far side, on the near side, it looks like he's doing much better, except for another overcasted pink fire doing a lot of damage, and a Gaze of Fate stopping these Minotaurs in their tracks. Good God, but a Flock of Doom from Big JP is just going to do some harass onto the Blue Horrors. Plague Bearers in the front are getting work done, plus the Festering Stooges are as well, but that is Nurgle's job. The Nurgle infantry in this build will take a long time to die. Blue Horrors firing at the Minotaurs, even while they're in melee combat because they have guard mode on, but the net just wore off, so we'll see if Big JP can get some orders in there. Far side, a lot of the Beastmen have been pushed off, but the Blue Horrors are starting to crumble. With Demonic Instability, that is doing a lot of damage, and the more damage it does, the more likely they are to keep crumbling. So that far side went, okay. Like, yes, you lost some Minotaurs, and you lost the Destroyers of Drakwold, but you're winning elsewhere. While the Plague Bearers are lasting a long time, they are still slowly dying, and good God, those pink fires are doing so much damage because the Beastmen have, like, no armor. Oh God, it hurts. It hurts so bad. Okay, those guys are all about fucked. Minotaurs are looking a lot worse for wear, as are the Centaurs. These Blue Horrors of Tzeentch are lasting forever, while these other ones are getting free shots on front of the Minotaurs. Balance of power is still about even, but Big JP is looking like he's in a tough spot here. Minotaurs have taken a lot. We have 2 Minotaurs who are actually still here. I thought those ones were routing, so okay, that's okay. And then 2 of his Minotaurs are doing well. The Blue Horrors that still have ammo are in melee combat, so they'll have a harder time firing, and maybe the Beastmen aren't in as bad of a situation as I would have thought. Another Flock of Doom spam out. He's just trying to do enough damage to these Blue Horrors to really get that crumbling to start kicking. Because if you're fighting demons, just getting that leadership down, you can see how much damage it starts to do over time, and then when they start crumbling, they don't stop crumbling, they don't stop crumbling, and they don't stop crumbling. Screamers and Fleshhounds all piling in onto these Minotaurs and Harpies. The Harpies are just trying to provide a little bit of buffering to keep the Minotaurs up and swinging. The Minotaurs, if they can swing, will do a lot of damage, but it's just about their leadership, whether or not it can hold on. Barons of the Bog getting mucked up in here will lower all of these units' attack by 25%. And we do have the first Chaos Spawn summon coming out. I don't think that was the voluntary one. I think that was demonic crumbling and just turned into a Chaos Spawn later. Minotaur's just about broken, and these Fleshhounds and Screamers are like, come on, break, you son of a bitch! But the Minotaurs aren't, and they're just fighting their way out. Beastmen are slightly behind on the balance of power. Centaurs and Spearmen are starting to rally on the far sides, but the Blue Horrors are fading away. Fleshhounds are fading away. Minotaurs finally break on the far side, and Svarak is doing well, but I wonder how much Winds of Magic he really has left in him. Beastmen probably still have a whole bunch of Flock of Dooms they can cast on this blob. Though the Barons of the Bog being healthy, Festering Stooges in here regenerating on their own, Fleshhound's healthy, Svark's healthy, I am a little worried about the Beastmen, but this is a lot of units off on the side. This Chaos Spawn Summon's running out of time, though. It has to get re-engaged. It looks like it's fighting one Baron of the Bog, but most of the unit is just stuck in place. Another Blue Fire from Svark is just going to poke down some of the Minotaurs, and Big JP does rush over to help out his lads, his boys, the Gits. Wounded Fleshhounds chasing Minotaurs off the map is pretty smart. They're also chasing off random Ungor herds. Svark lands in the middle of this group, which seems bold with how many Minotaurs there are, but I guess he just wants to get some terror routes out or something. Another Pink Fire. Jesus Christ, this Pink Fire is doing a lot of damage, and Fleshhounds are going to finish them off. Beastman leadership is getting real low in here. The second Chaos Spawn Summon is out, but I don't think they're going to be able to really withstand the grind. Demons of Chaos slowly out grinding the poor Beastmen. Butchers of Kalgengard get Gaze of Faded, lowering their melee attack down to 7. And without that, it does look like the Demons of Chaos are going to probably take it all. Hellstriders are mortals. Can't you get Hellstriders and Demons of Chaos? Those guys are OP? No, you cannot. Stop Nurgle bullying. Do Demons of Chaos get army abilities? They do. They get 3 random ones, yeah. Blue Horse feel like a blunder here. Not so good since Nerfs. Might as well bring Nurglings and switch some Plague Bears for pinks. Maybe. I actually don't know. I don't know the Tzeentch roster that well. I don't play them particularly great. When I do play them, I feel like I play like shit, so yeah. Alright, mostly caught up. Everything's routing except for this one Chaos Spawn that's a summon, and then Morgur himself. It was a pretty close game. You can see a lot of the Demons of Chaos units are rather low, but Svark being that healthy this late in the game, we still have some Fleshhounds running around. It does feel like it is a bit over. One Plague Bear is going to fade away. Chaos Spawn Summon also fades away. And Svark, plus all of his Fleshhounds are just chasing around Minotaurs. Svark himself is going to cycle charge. That will be the end. Told you. Hanadins is wild. Hanadins is a really good player. 2,200 on Svark, 1,000 on the Festering Stooges, almost 1,000 on the Poxrider ROR, but they were mostly there for the debuff, not really for the damage. Fleshhounds did well. Blue Horrors overall did well, and Plague Bears did just fine. For Big JP, the double Chaos Spawn Summon of Morgur and just not dying was what he contributed. His Wilds caster got 1,300 value, while his Flock of Doom caster got 500. Minotaurs did alright. None of them quite paid for themselves. Harpies struggled. Ungors and Gors struggled a little bit. So did the Centaurs. So their legs despawned from under them. Yeah. Alright. Alright. Demons of Chaos versus Beastmen is out. We'll go over to the Photoshop, and then we're going to have some fun. Okay. Alright. Human boy. Human boy, you piece of shit. You piece of garbage. Let's see how you did. Now, before I hit watch replay on this, I obviously know how it goes. I obviously know this game because I played it. I am going to say some things that some people might be like, wow, that's inappropriate. Wow, that's stupid. And it is going to be called acting. We are going to have some fun here. If you are not here for fun, then maybe consider leaving the stream. But we are just going to have a bit of a good time. You'll understand what I mean a little bit later. But yeah, some things are hyped up for entertainment value. It's going to be okay. Ready for Hummus to get ran over, which means Human Boy lost? Sure. Skaven versus Dark Elves. VM's Thunderwolf versus your own, your boy, the Skaven. For the Skaven build, we have Ikat Zap Zap, we have Poison Wind Globadiers, and we have the Avalanche Mortars as our range carry potential. On the ground, we have a Blight Priest with Pestilent Breath and Vermintide. We have Warlord on a Brood Horror with only Rally, and his Shield of Distraction for some minus melee attack. And then we have a Packmaster at his side with Shock Collar and Scrying Stone for his 2 abilities. Other than that, 4 Rat Ogres, a whole bunch of Skaven Slave Spears, and Clan Rats and Skaven Slaves mixed throughout. That's the whole Skaven build. Is fun even allowed in Warhammer? No. For the Dark Elves, we have Dark Riders in the flanks, a front line of Bleak Swords. We have double Manticore in the sky. We have a Sorceress of Fire with only Burning Head. Malice Dark Blade, more like Malice Dark Bitch. Triple Scourge Runner Chariot. We have the Crows of Cain and 1 Dark Rider Peter Crossbow. Things are going to get hairy very fast, but the Skaven throw out a quick summon on the front line onto the Bleak Swords just to delay them so that the Poisonman Globes can throw at that Bleak Sword instead of having 2 targets to throw it at once. And meanwhile, the Manticore lands. It is going to get surrounded by Rat Ogres. I even gave one of the Rat Ogres a Shock Collar to give him 60 melee attack, and the double Brood Horrors will push off this Manticore, make sure it can't take off. Meanwhile, the Avalanche Mortars get away from the blob. Malice Darkblade dives in onto my Plague Priest. He is going to get a good quick hit off onto him, and that makes me the big sad. I pull off 1 Rat Ogre from the Manticore fight to go fight him, and I keep another Rat Ogre next to this Warp Lightning Cannon to deal with Dark Riders. Another Rat Ogre is going to walk towards the front line to help deal with Malice in case 1 is not enough, and as you can see, the summon is just starting to fade, but this part of the front line, even with globe support, did fall apart, which is why we needed to delay that fight a bit. Scourge Runner Chariots get into my lines and start firing at Rat Ogres, which is okay. Meanwhile, other Rat Ogres catch up with those Scourge Runner Chariot doing good damage. Dark Riders and Manticores are getting pushed off of the Warp Lightning Cannon by my Slaves and Rat Ogres. Meanwhile, Thunderwolf is being very patient with a couple other Dark Riders, just waiting for their chance to get in here. More Scourge Runner Chariots commit to melee combat with my Rat Ogres over there. They're just trying to push them off. Meanwhile, the double Brood Horrors push off Malice Darkblade while we pop all of our buffs. We charge in there, and then we get ourselves a free little Firecaster, and we rout her off. Dark Riders, Peter Crossbows are shooting in on us, but I do have some Skaven Slaves. Nope, Clan Rat Spears just chasing them around, forcing them to keep ducking and moving instead of just sitting on top of me. Crows of Cain do dive in, but I get some Skaven Slave Spears to muck up with Poison Globes, and 1 Scourge Runner Chariot is shattered off. The other ones are going to fuck off, and my Avalanche Mortars are still good to go. Rat Ogres are fighting the Dark Riders back near the Ikit Zap Zap. Ikit Zap Zap is firing at Malice, and the Brood Horrors are still trying to kill the fucking lady on foot. Malice is here. We need to leave. We need to leave, my Mr. Brood Horror friend. Meanwhile, the box is still getting attacked, but I can't quite escape, so I do commit to the 2v1 fight. But I don't have any buffs right now. I do pop Shock Collar onto this guy, but it's not enough. I need all of my buffs at the same time if I'm really going to body Malice. So the double Brood Horror is currently doing well versus him, and then we decide to go after the Sorceress of Fire. We can finish her off, stop her from casting more magic for us this game. Meanwhile, Ikit Zap Zap is actually completely shut down. Avalanche Mortars barely hanging on and still firing at stuff. Skaven are slightly ahead on the balance of power. We have some units that need to rally. We have Poison Globes that need to be saved from the Crows of Cain, and it looks like the Rat Ogres are trying to do that. 2v1, the Brood Horrors are still trying to kill off this fucking lady, but she just won't die. We keep knocking her over. Malice is back, and Malice is here, and we don't like that at all. So I'm going to tell my Brood Horrors to go in 2 different directions. He can only chase one of us, ladies and gentlemen, and I did pay a premium. My Warlord has 95 speed, so does my Packmaster. So, Packmaster, chase down the lady. Warlord, run away with your 95 speed. Malice only has 68, so you'll definitely get away from him. Meanwhile, the Skaven are still trying to secure some things. Avalanche Mortars and Poison Globes are alive. But wait, what is this? 95 speed, and he's getting fucking run down by Malice Darkblade. What is this? Speed is a lie. Speed is a suggestion. I paid 800 extra gold for dog shit. That's what that is. Packmaster still running around with Supreme Sorceress, just knocking her over, running around her instead of doing any damage. Meanwhile, Malice is running my bitch ass down while I'm 30 speed faster than him. And that's just okay, I guess. He's just running me down, getting rear attacks on me. My leadership's lowering, so I have to run to some Skaven Slaves to get him off me, because I'm only 30 speed faster, so of course I can't get away from him. Anyway, Packmaster still hasn't done any damage to that lady since we checked. She's still at 400 HP, so that's running around wasting a whole bunch of time. Skaven are up on the balance of power. Manticore and Malice are diving straight through everything I put in their way to get onto the Warlord, who's taking a ton of damage. Poisonman Globes are trying to push off some Bleak Swords. Meanwhile, the Crows of Cain are right on top of them. Warlord needs to fuck off. Warlord needs to run away. Packmaster needs to finish off the goddamn Sorceress of Fire sometime today. Sometime today. He's done literally 0 damage. He has 74 melee attack, by the way. 74. Malice gets through all of my Rat Ogres and is still running down my Warlord, who has 30 more speed, I remind you. This is the part where I remind you that I am hyping it up for entertainment. I was salty about it, but not this salty. This is an entertainment product. Calm down. So Malice is doing, like, obviously, I know how it works. He has 105 speed, he's getting run down by Malice, but the problem is charge animations. The problem is not actually raw speed. It's just funny. What is not funny is somehow this bitch took 10 damage at some point from my guy with, like, hundreds of weapon strength. But she's just taking no damage. He hasn't hit her once. And he finally hits her, and he instantly kills her. So that's how long it took him to land one hit when he had 50 or 70 melee attack, depending on whether or not he has buff up. My Warlord still can't escape from Malice, even though I have 105 speed. I have 40 more speed than Malice Darkblade. Can't get away. Skaven have lost most of their ranged tools. We do have the Avalanche Mortars who rallied here next to a Manticore. They're just chilling, getting off a couple more shots, and still the Warlord cannot escape from Malice Darkblade. He pulls back into more Rat Ogres and Skaven Slaves, just trying to get away, and he finally gets some distance. Why not go to face in the upper left corner? Because usually there's damage value there, and there isn't because these are replays, but whatever. This is my normal stream setup, so yeah. Warlord is going to help out the Plague Priest, push off the Manticore, do a lot of good damage there. My Packmaster finally rejoins the fight. He's like, hey boss, I've been chasing around a mage for 45 minutes straight. Did you need me? And then the Warlord said, hey, yes. Meanwhile, Thunderwolves, Manticore, and Dark Riders are going to push off the Avalanche Mortars. The Skaven are officially out of range tools, but the Warlord is finishing off the Manticore, using his speed to keep that guy from getting off the ground. What the Dark Elves have left is a whole bunch of tattered units. We have Dark Riders, Repeater Crossbows with tons of ammo, but not a lot of HP. 2 Scourge Runners with no ammo, and we have some Dark Riders who are healthy. For the Skaven, we have 2 regenerating up Brood Horrors, and we have a Plague Priest with a good amount of summons left. 2 summons left, Pestilent Breaths left, some wounded-ass Rat Ogres, and some wounded-ass Skaven Slaves. Alright. We do commit back onto Malice Darkblade. This is what the double Brood Horror is meant to do. When you pop all of their buffs, they actually put in a lot of work onto Malice Darkblade. They're kicking his ass, they're beating him into the dirt, and he is going to pop Tazarkan summon. This is exactly what this build is designed to do. Now, once the double Brood Horrors bully him into Tazarkaning, you see both the Brood Horrors immediately get orders to run away. They just want to run away. They just want to fuck off. They want Malice to slowly kill himself, so we surround him in Rat Ogres, we surround him in a summon, and we just leave him alone. Everything of value is running away from Malice. These guys are already, the Rat Ogres are already dead, so I just leave them. Meanwhile, the Brood Horrors and my healthy Rat Ogres are all going to go get value chasing off Dark Elf targets, while Malice slowly bleeds to death. This Plague Priest is dead. I don't really want to come back near Malice, so at first I tell them, I say, too bad buddy, you're on your own, but then when Malice seems still distracted, I do come over here and I'm like, alright, we can maybe get a free charge off onto the Manticore while Malice is busy. We get 1 charge, we hit the Manticore, hit it again, it's gonna rout, it's probably gonna shatter, and then that's enough for us. We are gonna fuck off. Goodbye, Malice. Fuck you. Rat Ogres are gonna stay and fight to obey the attacking rule, but also they're surrounded by cavalry and chariots, which are all good targets for them. Malice with his 68 fucking speed catches up to my Warlord again! But he doesn't get a swing off this time, but he does catch up to my Warlord, and he is just gonna walk after him. Now I get my Packmaster to get a rear charge on him, just to tell him to knock it off, maybe stagger him and get him out of his charge animation, but he's just walking alongside my fucking Warlord. And then my Packmaster misses the charge and just walks in front of him, so now Malice gets a free rear attack. And hey, he's still at 58 speed and he was running down my Packmaster. 58 speed and he's running down my Warlord. Never mind, he's gonna fuck off and he is gonna go after my Plague Priest and I am just gonna let him. Meanwhile, Clan Rat Summon is starting to fade away, 30 seconds left on that. And we have some Rat Ogres rallying, a whole bunch of rallying troops, but the Dark Elves have way superior mobility advantage right now, so they're just going to do fine with that. Plague Priest is getting attacked by Malice, so while that's happening, I'm going to attack a Scourge Runner Chariot. Malice is slowly bleeding out, but he's bleeding out a lot more slowly than I thought he would, so that is rather annoying for me. Scourge Runner Chariot takes a lot of damage and gets pushed off. Plague Priest, he's still alive. He's still out there. We've gotten some good picks onto Dark Riders, gotten some good picks onto Scourge Runners, did some good stuff there. I realized that my Plague Priest had a standing order onto Malice, and I was like, whoops, and I tell him to run away. I just need to waste Malice's time. Meanwhile, Dark Riders and Repeater Crossbows have been kiting out some of my rallying slaves and some of my rallying Rat Ogres forever. I'm going to pull in the rallying Rat Ogres to maybe protect this Plague Priest. Meanwhile, we have another blob of rallying units that I am going to leave to their death, and my Warlord, while he's regenerating up, is just going to chase Dark Riders off the map. This Packmaster's trying to get away, and Malice is going to get orders to just go attack what he can attack, and that is fine for me. Human Boy needs more cardio. I think I'm just getting sick. Little Pestilent Breath on these Bleak Swords gets some damage out, because I don't think I have any summons left. Yeah, I don't have any summons left at this point. And I'm pretty sure this Plague Priest is going to die, so I'm just getting out anything I can. Because I do also have the Lore passive, so I'm reducing enemy vigor and stuff. Just want to get that out. Rat Ogre's holding Malice in place for a little bit. He's still, like, doing his self-crumble, but man, it is slow. Man, it is slow. Packmaster and Warlord just out and about, vibing, regenerating, shattering off units, staying the fuck away from Malice Darkblade. Rat Ogre's fighting him. He pops Bloodstorm, still doing some damage to himself. But we are in a bit of a holding pattern. As there's just some chasing, Malice slowly bleeding. Scourge on Chariots fight my Plague Priest. My Plague Priest gets off a quick little Pestilent Breath to do some damage to Dark Riders. He is actually just going to fight Scourge on Chariots because they're pretty bad in melee. Rat Ogres are back. Rat Ogres are going to take a charge onto Dark Riders, get a little bit of damage out before they die. Meanwhile, the two Brood Horrors continue to regenerate. Okay. Repeater Crossbows trying to catch my Brood Horrors. I am at a tricky spot now where to obey the attacking rule, my Brood Horrors have to always be attacking something, so I can't just run directly away from Malice Darkblade. I'd have to attack something that is away from him. And this leaves me stuck. So, my buffs are all off cooldown now, so I decide, fuck it, I'll just have to take the fight with him. He's popping Reaper of Souls for some healing, Bloodstorm as well. We're taking a big fight, but we are terror routing off a bunch of stuff with our Brood Horrors, so we get rid of a lot of his support, and pretty soon we will double team him. His healing cap is within sight. Skaven are slightly down in the balance of power, but they're starting to work on him. Just do absolute work on him. 84 melee attack for the Warlord, 50 for the Packmaster. Doing a lot of damage to him. Crows of Cain are in here, regenerating up. They're also taking a good amount of damage. And the Repeater Crossbows are starting to fire in. Malice is taking so much damage. So very, very much damage. The Warlord is finally going to break off. And without him, my buffs were all thrown onto the Warlord. So he was the main combatant, and now he is leaving. I know he's going to get chased off. I can't save him, so I instead focus my attacks onto the Dark Riders Repeater Crossbows. I want to terror out them. I want them to run away so I can run away with them. Again, I have to fulfill attacking rules. So I'm attacking the Dark Riders, and I'm like, run! Run away, you fucking assholes! Let me leave! Because I don't want to attack Malice anymore! I start to path away. Where am I going here? Oh yeah, I'm running after the Dark Riders. There we go. So I get a charge attack onto them, giving me my true speed. So he's getting his charge attack onto me. I'm getting my charge attack onto them. And when we both have charge attacks, then my superior speed actually matters. I'm letting Malice bleed out. He is getting so close. Bleeding, bleeding, bleeding out. My Warlord is getting run off by a bunch of units, and I am just desperately chasing these Dark Riders with Repeater Crossbows like, please stay away from Malice. Please stay away from Malice. Malice is getting low. He's getting real low. He's still bleeding out. I'm still chasing these Dark Riders, and for once in my life, I'm like, please don't shatter. Damn it, they shattered, which means I actually have to turn around and fight something. I turn around and fight the Scourge on Chariot that is slightly overextended. I'm going to do a bunch of damage to that, try and get it to route real quick, get another huge hit off onto it. It terror routes, and again, I start walking alongside it, but it also fucking shatters, which leaves me in a fight. I get attack orders onto a different Scourge on Chariot. I'm like, please, just don't make me fight Malice. Run, run. But he catches up to me because 61 speed beats 95 in this fucking game. Ah! He catches up to my Packmaster because 51 speed beats 95, and in the end, I do just have to turn and fight him. I'm getting some good attacks off. I was waiting for Shock Collar to come off cooldown, so now I have 74 melee attack. I am doing a lot of damage to Malice. Balance of power is still slightly against the Skaven, but we're doing pretty good work onto him, but Shock Collar is going to wear off soon, and with that goes my 16 leadership, and without it, I go negative. And I am going to break pretty soon, tear out off a bunch of things, and I die. That, the joke was, how, loud and all that stuff. The unjoke is, I know he was catching up to me because of charge bonus. I still think that's some horse shit. That, I could pay so much extra gold for 30 more speed, and he could just stay with me the entire game because he clicked on me. And it's like, oh, I didn't know you got 30 more speed for just clicking on someone. Oh, if only I had known that. It's so stupid. It's so fucking stupid. It was a super close game. Thunderwolf played it very, very well. Thunderwolf played it great. I'm not trying to take away from him at all. I was just very frustrated that, at multiple points during the fucking game, my faster unit was constantly getting caught by Malice. And I'm like, the whole strategy was kite him until I got all my abilities, charge him with my abilities, use them, and when they wear off, get the fuck out of there. And it was like, that strategy's not going to work if he gets 30 free speed for no reason. So, that was frustrating. Also, what was frustrating is how long it took the Packmaster to kill that fucking mage. It took him so long. So those are two things that really pissed me off. The rest of the game was fine. Caster did fine. Used all of its summons. Double Brood Horrors both paid for themselves with some. I still really like this build versus Dark Elves. It frustrates me that Malice can catch up to them anyway. That is stupid, but that doesn't mean this build is bad. I still really liked what the Double Packmaster could do, and the regeneration was clearly important. Especially if you're facing Malekith on a Dragon, Soul Stealer, and your Lord, then they can just heal up through it. Avalanche Mortars did okay. They got shut down pretty effectively by Thunderwolf. Same with the Warp Lightning Cannon, though it did stop the mage from casting too many burning heads, and it did a lot of damage to her. You should have built around the fact of small indie company. Poison Globes, this is post-nerf, so they just barely paid for themselves, but again, that was mostly Thunderwolf shutting them down, and not like the unit is bad. Rat Ogres did great. Clan Rats and Skaven Slaves tried to hold, but the Dark Elves got through them very effectively. As for Thunderwolf, his Malice, 4,100 value, very good stuff there. Scourgerunner Chariots really struggled. Manticores struggled to get their value, but they were mostly just annoying terror pieces, but my Brood Horrors, as soon as they landed, my Brood Horrors punished them quite nicely. Which, like, that's another thing you're paying for the speed for, is not just to run away from Malice, but also, like, anywhere in your formation that Manticores land or Chariots charge in or something, you can get there and help out. So that's nice, rather than, like, Skrulk wandering around on foot trying to get to the fight. Crows of Cain did very, very well. Value-wise, it's not that impressive, but they almost heal-capped by the end of the game, and they were chasing off stuff forever, so it was real good. His Repeater Crossbows were also very annoying. Burning Headcaster got sniped out pretty quick, so that's not his fault. Dark Riders did excellently, and Bleak Swords did what they could. You should have just put everyone on foot. Malice can't bonk worth a damn. The problem with everyone on foot, Tian, is Soul Stealer. Because if you're betting it all on them taking Malice, he can get good RNG and two-shot a Footlord, but also if they take a Soul Stealer caster, or a Fireball caster, or a Spirit Leech caster, your foot characters are completely just mega fucked. And then, if they're on foot, the thing I said at the end is they can't, like, if a Manticore lands, your Lord and Heroes can't get to the fight before the Manticore would leave. And the Brood Horrors, like, paid for themselves. They did really well. But, yeah, it was a really good game. It's not Vigor, though, it's just Malice. What's your Lord Vigor versus Malice's Vigor? Yeah. Yeah, it was a really good game. I enjoyed it a lot. It was hype. But I did lose. Thunderwolf advances. And we got him. Who's next? Who haven't we seen yet today? Faction-wise. Let's do some Bretonnia. Butcherbird might still be here. Butcherbird versus John FB. Let's do Ogres Bretonnia. Referencing Malice being Underdirt versus Marcus Wolfheart. Yeah. Marcus Wolfheart! Yeah, that was a good video. Alrighty. I betted against you losing first round, and this is how you repay. Pretty much. What did Call HR bring into High Elves? You'll have to rewind the stream, Tian, but it was like Dryads, Drycha, one Waywatcher, bunch of Cav. So for now, we have John FB on the Ogres versus Butcherbird on Bretonnia. For Butcherbird's Bretonnia, we do have Knights of the Realm mixed in with Questing Knights. Peasant Bowmen, looks like all with Pox arrows, just to provide poison debuffs. Men-at-Arms, Polearms, front line of Peasant Spearmen, so a lot of anti-large infantry running around. Then all on foot, we have Henry Le Massif with his armor-piercing anti-large, a basic Paladin with just anti-large and Guardian, and then we have the Fey Enchantress with Dwellers Below, Earthblood, Chalice of Potions, and Favor of the Fae. Like that Malice makes the undead crumbling look fast. It's a neat weakness, it really balances out. Yeah, I think Malice's like crumbling mechanic is fine. Some of his abilities just need like longer cooldowns or something. But yeah. Alright, as for the Ogres, we have a Noblar frontline. Greasus fucking Goldtooth with like all of his abilities. Jesus Christ. We have some basic Ogre Bulls, a lot of basic Ogre Bulls. We have Crushers with great weapons. The Sky Striders Crushers with great weapons. More Ogre Bulls with Iron Fist. Double Saber Tusk pack, and Ogre Bulls with Iron Fist. Fucking Greasus Goldtooth. We have a Fire Belly with Burning Head and Piercing Bolts of Burning. This is going to be a huge Burning Head. There are 3 peasant units all stacked up on each other, and they try to back off for Butcherbird, but the Burning Head was angled in such a way that it's actually going to go into some Gnoblars and do a lot of friendly fire damage, but it'll also hit more men-at-arms, lowering their leadership even more, and that might have been the intention, lowering the leadership on more. Wow, that was a massive Burning Head for the leadership, and the Ogres are going to get everybody running, and remember, Ogres do get their... they get their passive off of people running, and they're hitting them in the back. So this was a pretty neat play by John FB if it was intentional to try and get a whole bunch of army passive. Now, this has left the Hero Corps of Bretonnia alone until Butcherbird charges in with some Knights of the Realm from the rear. Sky Striders are nearby, but it looks like they have orders to go elsewhere and fight more Knights of the Realms. The Crushers and the Saber-Tusk packs are going wild. Butcherbird is ahead on the balance of power for now. The front line of Bretonnia is scattering to the winds, and some of their back line is disrupted, but their cavalry is charging in. It's not like the Ogres got off scot-free. You can see Gnoblars in every direction are running. Greasus Big Tooth is in here, trying to fight some stuff. It looks like the Fire Belly is currently putting the hurt down on Henry Le Massif. And Henry, like, I'm happy he's on the main Bretonnia roster because I'm always for being able to take units, but, like, I honestly feel like Henry always underperforms. I don't know why. He's another one of those units that on paper he looks good, but like I just can't seem to make him work. So Greasus is fighting the blob. Sky Strider's also charged in. Knights of the Realm are here, but we have a Chalice of Potions coming down. It's going to hit some Gnoblars. Never mind, it's going to go dead center of mass and hit like everybody. Some damage onto the Sky Striders, some damage onto the Knights of the Realm, a lot of damage on the Gnoblars, and they're going to rout off. Greasus is still trying to fight, as are these Ogre Bulls. Or how's the rest of the map going? Big back pocket here for the Ogres going well, but Butcherbird is committing questing Knights and Knights of the Realm in here, so it'll go a lot less well very quickly. Butcherbird has secured one of his Peasant Bowmen, and it is firing in on some Ogre Bulls right now. It might add to the blob fight a little bit later. Knights of the Realm just about to rout. The Sky Striders are also about to rout, even though they're above half HP and an elite unit, because leadership is real for low leadership factions. Big Burning Head. Ooh, hoo, hoo. And its minus leadership will take out those Knights of the Realm. Probably just a big rout for the Ogre Kingdoms. They can either chase down these units to get army passive or get a good surround on the Hero Corps and take them out. It's up to them. Greasus Goldtooth is in here and he lands a giant hit onto Henry Le Massif. Le Massif hit on Le Massif. Bretonnian Knights got a good amount of damage down over here, but it looks like these Crushers with Massacre, they cause terror and they have more weapon damage. It looks like these Crushers are just able to outgrind a lot of what Bretonnia has. Greasus Goldtooth is still in here, still fighting this hero blob. He hasn't been able to finish anybody off yet, but he is doing a good amount of damage. Ogres are going to charge back, take care of some of these Peasant Bowmen. They're tired of getting poked down by the poop-covered arrow sticks. And these Crushers are just a huge problem. They have not received any healing, and they are just doing so much work. I think this one maybe received a Hunger. A Butcher, sorry. Because you can see its healing cap, so it must have gotten something. And in this matchup, the Ogres are able to get a lot of their army passive because of all the peasants that are running away, just getting murdered. Henry Le Massif finally breaks, but he's already back to positive leadership, so he will be back soon as Greasus Goldtooth either pats after him or pats after the Fae. I don't know. He just kind of like pushed his gut into her face and said, take that. So that was odd. More Knights are charging in from Butcherbird, but we do have 2 Crushers in this area, and it looks like he is going to just take the hint and fuck off. He is going to let these Knights of the Realm just die. Maybe they're actually trying to run. Hard to tell where they are based on the unit flags. Greasus lets Henry get away, and instead he's going to turn around, try and fight the Fae, try and fight her Paladin friend, and the Fire Belly's just going to leave. Balance power is about even, a little bit Ogre favored. And these Crushers are doing great. They are going to get a side charge onto the Knights of the Realm, who are affected by Dismember, which slows them down very, very much and allows the Crushers to get off a really free charge. Not getting as much damage as you would think, but they're still in here. They're still doing well. And another Burning Head. John FB has really been liking these Burning Heads just to lower the leadership of stuff and get them to break faster. I like that use if that was the intention. I mean, it's also doing good damage, but he's mostly getting it just to route things. Greasus Goldtooth is in a 1v2, and he ain't scared of nothing. He's out here bopping. He's bopping, kids. Fae Enchantress throws out an overcasted here. Oh my god, that Earthblood did so much damage to her. That is very unfortunate for Butcherbird, who now has fallen convincingly far behind on the balance of power. Dogs are in the back, sprinting it after anything that's running away, charging up more of the Ogre passive. The Sky Striders and the other Crushers are back in here. We probably honestly have another Butcher soon, but we've seen the Ogres been using all of their army abilities in this game, and it just keeps coming, and it doesn't stop coming, because there's so many routing units to charge up off of. Paladin is routing. I don't see him coming back with the Ogre advantage in the area. The Fey Enchantress is the last thing left for them of any value, as these Ogre Bulls and Ogre Bulls and the Ogre Bulls with Iron Fist are going to get a two-way charge onto the Peasant Bowman. That will rout them off. Easy peasy lemon squeezy. Chalice of Potions does more damage to the pole arms that were routing than it does to the Crushers. And that'll be army losses. Greasus Goldtooth with the W. Greasus Goldtooth, 1900 value for him. Firebelly, 1200. Sky Striders, 1500. The regular Crushers, 1600 for them. Noblars just died, but they did their best. Ogre Bulls and the Ogre Bulls with Iron Fist did what they had to. And Saber Chest did okay. Undead units should actually take damage. Fey Enchantress, 1700 value. Henry Le Massif, about 900. Paladin, about 800. Peasant Longspears and the pole arms. Honestly, some of the pole arms did okay. Peasant Longspears struggled. Archers did fine. Knights of the Realm did mixed, and Questing Knights also did mixed. Henry couldn't handle the girth of Greasus' thunder thighs. What would you do with the Ogre Kingdoms to make them better? Give them more small-sized units. Because the fact that you just know everything that they have is going to be large, besides, like, literally just Noblars and Nobbler Trappers, is pretty bad. Or give some of their units, like, large resist or something. So, like, if a unit has anti-large, but then it's attacking something with large resist, you just don't get that bonus. But, like, probably for just elite units, not, like, basic 500 gold Ogre Bulls get large resist would be silly, but I don't know. Something like that. Because Ogres just struggle against pointy sticks and basic archers. That or make them slightly cheaper. Or fix how monstrous units work, because a lot of them run into each other and have issues. So there's a lot of things you could do. I just hope they don't do too much at once. John FB will advance. Ogres versus Vampire Counts. I'm sure that's going to go very well for the Ogres. I'm sure that'll be great. Oh, let's watch some Dwarves and Slanesh, huh? Pink Pony Knight versus Will Francesco. Let's go. Let's fucking do it. Need the Orcs Goblin dynamics of the Greenskins. Ogre builds and Nobbler builds both being viable. Somehow make Gorger's infantry size. Yeah. Something like that. What are we looking for? Slanesh versus Dwarves. There it is. Will Francesco versus Pink Pony Knight. We are going to get some Slanesh Chariot action. We are going to get some Azazel action. Not taking Sigvald. Very bold. As for Pink Pony Knight, we do have... Ooh, this is a spicy one. I like both these builds. We have some Flamethrower Infantry and an Organ Gun. Let's go. But I seen them actually do something noticeable. It's easy. There's a difference between noticeable and too much. Like, there's nerfing something into the complete dirt and then it's worthless. And I never want something to be worthless. I just don't want things to be OP. But, like, because, real quick, I suppose I could play it as a dwarf game. It's not going anywhere. Like, Vampire Counts is the example if they did too much. Like, they were already strong, but coming into game 3, they're like, let's give them more HP because we're on Ultra. Let's go to Ultra unit size. And let's give them more HP. And let's give a bunch of their units regeneration. And let's improve how healing works across the board. And let's give them a bunch of leadership buffs. Wait, Vampire Counts are fucking broken? What? So that's what I'm talking about not doing too much at the same time. Because it's like, we've seen what happens with that. And it's like, why did you give them 5 buffs at once without stopping and seeing how 1 buff went, right? All right. Organ Guns immediately get rear charged by the Furies, but it looks like some of the Miners with Blasting Charges and Thoric are going to come over and try and peel that off, but so far that's going well. The build for Slanesh, we have Seekers of Slanesh, a Seeker Chariot, 2 Chaos Furies, a Zazel up in the sky with Lash of Slanesh and Acquiescence. We have the Mirror Guard, Chosen of Slanesh with Hell Scourges, then Devoted Marauders, some of them having Hell Scourges, some without. We have the Bringers of Guilement, Exalted Demonettes, 1 Marauder Horseman, and we have a Cultist with his Summon. Right. For the Dwarves, we have 2 Iron Drakes, a bunch of Longbeards in the front line, Slayers in the back line, Miners and Blasting Charges back here as well, Rangers, Longbeards, Thoric Ironbrow, and an Organ Gun. But one of the Rangers is already running. Yeah, one of the Rangers is already out of here. Now Thork is going to pop the Rune of Interactivity. And his Longbeards now have 54 melee attack. They are going to start chewing through the Devoted Marauders of Slaanesh. But Azazel rear charging some Longbeards. He is trying to get them out of here, but the Dwarven leadership is just too stalwart. Meanwhile, a Rune of Wrath and Ruin does about 1/3 HP to both of these Devoted Marauders. That was a pretty good cast over there. The Exalted Demonettes of Slaanesh are going to tear through the Miners of the Blast charges like butter, and Slaanesh is running over the Dowie lines right now. Dwarves are slightly ahead on the balance of power because of how much damage Slaanesh has done taken in the process, though. We can see that the Seekers are not feeling so good. Devoted Marauders aren't feeling so good. They're all getting pushed off. But the Chosen with Hell Scourges are pushing straight through. Organ Gun is shut down. That pick really didn't work out for Slaanesh, unfortunately. They were not able to really get any volleys off whatsoever. Do we have the Demonette summon out yet? No. We do not. So there's still a Demonette summon in the back pocket. Azazel is running around, fighting some Rangers, but we do have some Iron Drakes who are able to get off a pretty nasty volley onto the Chaos Furies of Slaanesh, really lowering their leadership down to 14. And again, if they start crumbling, that will be probably the end of them as Ekron Miners try to get off a blasting charge, but it will not happen, as Will Francesco is on top of that and stops them from throwing. Then the Exalted Demonettes will rampage them, making sure they never get to throw their charges. Secret Chariots are in here. They're just trying to disrupt some things, stop some stuff from happening. Where's Thork? Thork's over here. He's doing fine. For now, the balance of power is about even. I would say that the situation is extremely Slaanesh favored. Marauder Horsemen of Slaanesh do commit into the fight. They are going to fight some Longbeards for a bit. That's not going so great for them, so they will back off now. Demonette summon is here. And with the summon, Slaanesh is slightly up on the balance of power, but it's about even. Rangers have rallied on the far side. They could get in here and do some pokey pokes, but we'll have to see. Slaanesh did very, very well at the start. Do they have enough momentum? Do they have enough momentum to finish this off? Let's find out. The Chosen of Slaanesh, the Hell Scourges, are slapping around Thork, Ironbrow, and the Slayers. Wow, the Slayers do not want to fight the Hell Scourges at all. Having 0 armor and relying on your high stats versus something that has 72 melee defense and 45 melee attack, yeah, the Slayers are going to get nothing done there. They're going to have a very, very bad time. Iron Drakes rallying with just a little bit of HP. Do what damage they can to some things. These Rangers, again, from Pink Pony Knight, these Rangers are back, but they really need to realize that they're back and come here and shoot these Exalted Demonettes. They would do a lot of damage over there. Meanwhile, the Rune of Doom on these Longbeards could trade back effectively into the Bringers of Beguilement, but they get rear charged by Chariots. That might break them sooner than you would think. Aside from that, Slaanesh is having some frontline issues. Really, the only infantry unit that's doing okay at this point is the Chosen. Azazel's running around, free as could be. And these Rangers, there's 46 models of them, so imagine if they have been shooting the Bringers of Beguilement this whole time. Imagine that. They're facing the right direction, they're just not shooting anything. They got one little mini volley off on the Secret Chariots, but that's a big mistake. Pink Pony Knight's going to want that one back. An unholy Dwarven blob has formed over here. I wonder if we could get a Lash of Slaanesh in this area at some point that would do some pretty decent damage. Bringers of Beguilement are still tearing down this Longbeard. Come on, Rangers, rally! Look over here! Azazel is chasing off the last of the other ranged units. Nobody seems to have noticed this Rangers over here. Oh, because they're stalked. Right, Slaanesh literally doesn't know they're there. On the far side, all the dwarves are routing, so now we've mostly focused up around Thorek. Balance of power is shifted into Slaanesh's favor, and I would tend to agree. And the whole Slaanesh army is now getting vigor and speed. Azazel dives in straight onto Thorek Ironbrow. 70 melee attack, 55 melee defense, and a whole bunch of armor-piercing weapon strength. He is going to body the little dwarf that could. And Rangers are now free-firing onto the Secret Chariots that are getting to move out of range, but that... I don't know if it would have been game-changing, but that is a pretty big mistake for Pink Pony Knight. Boom! Lash down the whole line. You love to see it. As the Cultist and Azazel are going to finish off Thorek Ironbrow, that'll probably be GG. Chosen of Slaanesh. Doing work. There it is. We need a dwarf mod that places shield thingies with giant wheelchairs. The hated people choosing campaigns need to make them good. They're making them broken in MP. Nah. I, personally don't think... Some people can disagree, but I don't think crumbling is a very fun mechanic in campaign either. I played Queek and I had to fight Tomb Kings, and there was no point that I was watching an entire army slowly, unnoticeably crumble in a melee fight that I was playing on ×3 speed. Was I like, God, I love playing against undead. They're so thematic and fun. I usually find them tedious, but that's just me. Like fighting as or against undead, even in campaign, I'm like, oh my God, this sucks ass. Value's a little spread out. Azazel did great. Chosen with Hellscourges did really, really well. So did the Bringers of Beguilement. Mirrorguard did okay. Secret Chariots did fine. Chaos Furies did well, but mostly because they shut down an Organ Gun. For Pink Pony Knight, Thoric did all right. He eventually got killed, but he was healthy up until Azazel focused him down. Slayers got not that much value. Longbeards did fine. Fire Drakes did good. I think they're only 700 gold, so then they did fine. Rangers also got shut down right away. Miners of Blasting Charges did good, as always. Pretty smart Slaanesh play GG. Kind of love how Azazel wasn't just sacrificed, but picked on the range units and miners. Yeah. Well, Francesco's a good player. He's just busy. He's busy IRL, so he doesn't get to play a lot. But I invited him to play Slaanesh. He didn't have time to play in either of the Faction War tournaments, and then Slaanesh was open, so I just contacted him, and I was like, hey, you want to play Slaanesh? Undead are tedious to play against campaign because they never really post any army you kill. Crawling would be fine if it had an exponential damage curve. Yeah, I would agree. Back to the Photoshop. Will Francesco will advance? Boom. What do we have left? What else greenskins? We haven't seen any greenskins today. Vampire, Coast, and High Elves. We have seen High Elves today. Coast and Tzeentch. We haven't seen either of those factions. Nurgle and Tomb Kings, we haven't seen Nurgle. Beastmen and Bretonnia, we have seen both. And Empire and Ogres, we've seen Ogres. So I think the natural thing would be to go to Tzeentch and VP, since we haven't seen either of those factions yet. High Elves VP faction war? No. Who was I looking for? VP Tzeentch? There we go. Strat Game versus Everchicken. We saw Strat Game yesterday playing some VP in ODM's Land Battle Tournament Champions of the Grail. And he switched it up. He didn't bring his usual 4 Animated Hulks, 3 Depth Guard, the Lamper's Revenge, this caster, and 2 dogs and a bunch of pistols. He cut the 2 dogs. He got an extra Depth Guard, so it's a variation on the Strat Game Classic. So we have 5 pistol mobs, 4 animated hulks, 3 bomber mobs. 1 is mixed in there. Lamper's Revenge, 4 Depth Guard, 2 of which are axes, 2 of which are halberds. And we have a pistol vampire caster with Invocation and Hack and Drowned Dead. On the other side, for Everchicken Tzeentch, we have a shitload of horrors, pink and blue. It looked like 5 of each, and that is going to be the case. We have 1 Chosen of Tzeentch, 2 Chosen of Tzeentch, 3 Chaos Furies, a Chaos Sorcerer Lord of Tzeentch on his disc with Blue Fire, Infernal Gateway, and the Chaos Spawn Summon. This is a very unique Tzeentch build. Both armies are walking sideways, so I'm going to play it at ×2 for now. It's ironic because any exponential increase is going to look more and more like a straight line, despite being a curve originally. Alright, so noticing the Tzeentch force is split up. It looks like Strat Game is just going to invest fully on killing the right side. It doesn't want to take a split fight and get surrounded or anything. So Everchicken is going to have to advance on this side if he wants to get involved at all. These other horrors are just going to stop and shoot. Looks like they'll roast down some pistol mobs, but that will leave animated hulks to sprint into them. We'll see how long the blue horrors last. Ha! It's easy. The horrors! A little slow on this rotation from Everchicken, unfortunately. He's leaving some Chosen in the dust. These guys are all a little behind on the curve, but it looks like now he is getting into the game. Meanwhile, some of his blue horrors are mucked up in animated hulks, while he's still focusing down these pistol mobs. And we'll see. These pink horrors are about to get hit by animated hulks. That's a pretty big loss for them. And he really wants those gunnery mobs dead. And he even gets an overcast Invocation Hack on 2 of them from Strat Game, but it's not going to work out. Blue horrors are almost dead at this point, and the pink horrors are starting to fall back. Chaos Furies are diving in onto the bombers to stop them from throwing. But so far, that has been a bit of a disaster for Tzeentch on that side. Chosen and Chaos Furies on this side are trying to get involved, walking over. And there's a lot of undead overlapping. I wonder where we will get an Infernal Gateway. if there is even going to be one. It's all the way over here onto some depth guard. Is it overcast? It is overcast, so it'll do pretty significant damage to them. But I wonder if it's going to be worth it. The Chaos Spawn Summon is also already out. It's in the back line just fighting some animated hulks, while the blue and pink horrors of Tzeentch will get to fire in. And bombers are walking out, but it looks like the Furies are diving onto the pistol mob. The bombers are uninhibited, so they will get off a pretty good volley onto some of these pink horrors. It looks like the horrors are going to run away, so it'll just be blue horrors that take the ire of the vampire bombs. Do have Chaos Furies of Tzeentch in the back, just chilling a little bit, but Tzeentch is behind the bounce of power slightly, and I would tend to agree. Some early game mistakes are starting to really come into the fold and hurt them here. Animated Hulks sprint outside the infantry fight, and they are going to muck up more blues and more pinks as bombs rain in. Pink horrors are trying to finish off the bombers, but now Lamper's Revenge is walking out. Things are looking a little bit tough. Furies of Tzeentch will charge in, trying to finish off the bomber mobs as a bolt of change hits some animated hulks. Okay, I don't love that cast, but it's not the worst thing in the world. Zombie Pirate Gunnery Mob is crumbling in the back. Slowly. So that's fun. And the blues make horrors are still trying to shoot at depth guard and stuff, but I don't know. I don't know, Mr. Krabs. I'm getting real scared. A lot of the horrors are mucked up. How are the Chosen of Tzeentch doing? They're doing alright. They're at half HP fighting animated hulks and depth guard. Sorcerer of Tzeentch is just done with this guy's shit, so he's going to charge back here and try to get him into the disintegration mode, which he soon will disintegrate down. Balance of power still slightly VP favored, but I really think this game is significantly VP favored at this point. Furies are trying to stop the bombers, but most of them are clustered up on nothing, so not really getting attacks off. Meanwhile, they're getting shot in the back by all these pistols, so they are going to die rather quickly. Kiting is resuming, but animated hulks are technically faster than the horrors, so I don't know how fast they can actually get away. And a blue fire down the line of the bombers, really trying to take them out from Tzeentch. Doesn't get a shit out of the caster, just wants to take out all things. Vampire's player doing an excellent job preventing his armor from being pulled apart. Yeah, Strat Game's real good. Strat Game is a real good gamer. Chosen of Tzeentch still fighting, still trying to crumble away the animated hulks. But I don't have as big of a problem with crumbling with Vampire Coast because they don't have as many healing auras. That is something that annoys me though. Is crumbling supposedly does 14 to 28 damage. But if you watch the ticks, sometimes it'll do under that. 45 to 24, what is that, 19? Okay, yeah, that one was fine. There's a couple that I saw like do 4 because it'll do it onto a model. There, that one was just 4. So I wish crumbling did the damage across models even if a model dies, but it looks like if a model dies, the damage could be nerfed. So the damage is not even consistent. That's one of the biggest problems. I wish it was more consistent, but the only faction that crumbling is really annoying on nowadays is Vampire Counts after the debuffs. One last pink horror is trying to kite out these bombers who are now starting to crumble just a little bit. Just a little bit. But Tzeentch has a huge issue with these two depth guard right here. One of them's full HP. Now, I suppose he could have Infernal Gateways. He hasn't used that much Winds of Magic, I don't think. Well, now he's using more of it. But if he has Infernal Gateways, you can take out an entire depth guard with that. It's a slow death, not like being banished. I'm fine with it being slower than being banished, but right now it's maybe a little too slow. And too inconsistent. Again, if they actually did 14 to 34 damage every tick, it would be fine, but sometimes it does like 4 damage because the model it was ticking on died or something. I don't know. It can just be dumb. Tzeentch is falling behind on the balance of power at this point, as its chosen get whittled down by the depth guard with pole arms, who are healing during their entire fight. And these other chosen are just walking after the Lamper's Revenge. Blue fire cast onto them. Does a little bit of damage. I want to save it for the depth guard. I'm going to play it at ×2 speed as we have a little bit of kiting. Pinks, all trying to get away and do some damage, but the Chosen of Tzeentch on the far side are dead. These guys get caught up in the depth guard and they get mulched. Just immediately killed by those dual axe infantry. The other guys are getting swamped by the Lamper's Revenge and dead. 2 of our pink horrors are gone. We just have a Chosen of Tzeentch and the caster left. Caster lands on the ground. Lamper's Revenge are looking at him like, juicy. But no. Seems like it needs to apply overkill the next model. Yeah, for sure. That'll be it. Vampire Coast will advance. Lamper's Revenge got pretty good value. Depth Guard did well overall. Animated Hulks did well at blocking up stuff. Bombers got mostly shut down. but a lot of the damage value was in ammunition, so it's not really going to be shown there. Blue and pink horrors did okay. Chosen of Tzeentch struggled. Like, this one did alright, but he fought for an awful long time. The other ones just got kited. What up, bird? I love Tzeentch, wished it was better besides Double Soul Grinder. Return now that Grishuk lost. I don't know who Grishuk is. Alright, what was that one? VP versus Tzeentch. Back to the Photoshop. Itchy nose. Alright, strat game. You advance. And let's do Schnoz Coops. Let's do it. More Undead, more Nurgle. Fuck yeah. Nurgle versus Tomb Kings! Oh, chest stuff, I see. Butcher Bird, you missed your game. Grabs the shotguns. Looks like I'm learning Coast next, yeah. A lot of the votes are for an undead faction. I'm going to end that poll now, though, because it's been in my way. I like to see more of the chat. Coops and Schnoz, our second Tomb King. First one lost versus Cathay, but can this one beat Nurgle? Or will Nurgle advance? I was trying to say Mahogany, however, my psych unhinged. I'm entirely insane. Hi, Tom Bombadil. For Nurgle, we have Forsaken, including the Demon Spew, a whole bunch of Plague Bearers, and Forsaken. So 5 Forsaken, 5 Plague Bearers, 2 Exalted Heroes. 2 Exalted Heroes of Nurgle, each on a horsey. And then we have a Chaos Sorcerer Lord of Nurgle with Rancid Visitations and Stream of Corruption. Plus his passive Regeneration Crown for himself and Arcane Conduit. And we have 2 Nurglings. And that's the entire Nurgle build. Infantry spam. On the other side, we have, for Coops, Nakar Warriors mixed in with Skeleton Warriors, Nakar Warriors as well, Skeleton Spearmen in the back. We have Settra the Imperishable on horseback with his most spammable spells to heal up his army. We have a Tomb Prince on horseback as well, trying to help him duel some stuff. What? Oh, okay. I was like, do we have lag in a replay? We have Chosen of the Gods and a basic Ushabti, another basic Ushabti, so 2 Ushabti Great Bows, 1 Chosen of the Gods, so 3 total. And then we have 3 Skeleton Horse Archers that are a little mixed up in here. So the Tomb Kings want to hold the front line while they get to shoot at all the Nurgle bits and do good damage. Hi fella, how is the rats doing? We're all doing good. Alright, Chosen of the Gods are somehow missing Plague Bearers who move about as fast as a Glacier, so that was a little embarrassing for them for a little bit, but okay. Forsaken are grinding straight through the Skeleton Spearmen and Nehekar Warriors. Their 85 armor is a huge problem for these Nehekar Warriors who don't have armor piercing, they just have anti-infantry. Second line of the Tomb Kings is already coming up to try and support the front line, but the front line is crumbling rather quickly under the threat of the Forsaken. The Plague Bearers is not really going anywhere, but Forsaken doing all right. Except for that one. That one's getting his ass kicked. In the back line, the Exalted Heroes just did sprint straight in, trying to do some good damage to these Ushabti Great Bows. And we have Rancid Visitations Overcast from the Chaos Sorcerer Lord of Nurgle onto Settra the Imperishable. And Rancid Visitations is pretty much just like a double Spirit Leech. I think it costs twice as much and it does twice as much damage. Otherwise, the math is the same. So it's just double Spirit Leech. Okay. Chosen of the Gods running away from an Exalted Hero of Nurgle, but already the Ushabti summon comes out from Coops and it's just going to peel off the Exalted Hero. He doesn't really want to deal with it, so he leaves. He's fine just letting it run out of time. And Settra is down to half HP after the Rancid Visitation and dueling with the Exalted Hero. Chaos Sorcerer Lord Nurgle thinks about coming in to help out, and he's like, nope, and immediately runs the fuck away, as does his compatriot. But Settra's going to peace out, and that is very odd. Don't know what really changed the math on that one. Sometimes Chosen of the Gods targeting is just the worst. They don't feel great. Yeah, I agree. Furry boy gonna marry. True. That Tzeentch build was whack. It was silly. I think it could have worked. There was just a couple little misplays. We do have the double Exalted Heroes and the Chaos Sorcerer Lord of Nurgle all trying to fight Settra the Imperishable, who popped his physical resist and his cursed, the blade, the Blessed Blade of Pacha. But now that has worn off. The Ushabti summon is still here for 30 more seconds, but then it will fade away. And Cetra is in the middle of this bully gang, getting his ass kicked right now. But we'll see how that goes. Nurgle should have Fecundity pretty soon, the army ability. And he probably wants to use it onto this triple hero stack. Get some healing for them. Because their caster doesn't actually have any healing spells. He has the passive that heals him a little bit, but not any spells for his friendos. Cetra's still trying to get a good duel in, but he's really not having a good time of it. In this 3v1, ooh, that Rancid Visitation is going to be nasty. That's probably going to finish him off, honestly. Yeah, Cetra's going down. Without the Tomb King's Lord, you lose your caster, you lose your passive healing, you lose a little bit of leadership, making Crumbling go even faster. You can see Nurgle has pushed through the entire front line. All the Skellies are dead, leaving us just with some Skelly archers, and Ushabti Greatbows all trying to kite. It doesn't look like they'll be able to kite enough to really win it out. Cetra did survive. Overcast Rancid is more than 2x Spirit Leech, most single target damage per wins magic of any spell in the game. Coops didn't bring a Necro Kitty? No, and his Cetra's very limited health pool when he's only on horse is really hurting him here. He only has 5,000 HP when he's on a horse. When is Domination Faction War? I don't know, man. Ask like the 95 Domination hosts. Don't ask the one land battle host when the fucking Domination Faction War is. I'm doing my best out here. Tzeentch vs Vampire Hero matchup needed a CW line with Doom Knights to kill the annoying gunners. Chaos Warrior line. Oh, okay. He did have Infernal Gateway to blow up Depth Guard. He just used a lot of blue fire on animated hulks. I think Nurgle sucked hard versus large targets. They still kind of do. You can see how long it's taking them to kill these Ushabti or the Horsemen. But single entities they can fight really well because Exalted Heroes are like the best duelists in the game. And you do have Rancid Visitations. That Rancid Visitations for sure kills Cetra, right? For sure. Yeah, he's dead. Cetra's dead, and with that, army loss is just straight up hits. Holy shit. And I mean, I agree. Like, look at all these infantry. How are they going to get through it? But... yeah. Tom Bombadil, if you care, there is domination in the finals of this. I have it set up as land battle, domination, land battle for the best of 3, but like... yeah. I don't know, man. No one else is making land battle content, so I'm doing my best out here. I can't also make the domination content you want. You're gonna have to ask all the other Dom content creators. Why didn't Tomb Kings bring Scorpions? I don't know. I think Scorpions suck, but that's just me. Nurgle Caster, 2,200 value. Exalted Heroes, almost 1,000 apiece, but didn't really get a ton of value. They did okay. Plague Bearers just did what they could. Forsaken chewed through a front line. As for Coops, Cetra, almost 1,000 value. Tomb Prince, 200. Ushabti Greatbows, wow. Combined didn't even get 1,000. That's unfortunate. Skellies did what they could. Nekar Warriors did fine. Skeleton Horse Archers did fine. It's a GG. Quick pop over to L Photoshop. We have Nurgle advancing. Oh no, don't select all that stuff. There you go. Just want that. How many games left? 1, 2, 3, 4. 4 games left today. We have seen High Elves and VP before. We haven't seen Greenskins yet. We haven't seen Empire yet. We've seen all the rest. So let's do Greenskins. Let's do Greenskins Wood Elves. I'm joking. Hubby knows I hate domination. Just joking. Oh, Tom Bombadil. Oh! You have pissed everybody off here. Everybody. Oh. Hi, Will. How could Tomb Kings be bad into Nurgle? They have no immune system. It's true. Beasts of Nurgle or Rotflies should be anti-large. Everything else in the roster is anti-infantry. Yeah. Rotflies and all the Toad units need some help. Greater Unclean One is kind of good against large, though. Too slow to hunt down monsters. Yeah. Unclean Ones of any variety are really good duelists, but they're just better lords, unfortunately. Bone Disease, great point. Yeah. Alrighty. For AC Maiden versus Cool Umbrella, The Wood Elf build is smaller, so we'll go with that. We have Glade Riders with Hagbane tips. More Glade Riders and more Glade Riders with Hagbane tips. We have Wild Riders with shields. We have the Firebark Elders, some Glade Riders. We have the Dragon version of the Sisters of Twilight. And we have Ariel on the ground with Soul Stealer, Dwellers Below, and Berry Wine. Alright, so it's a Wood Elf like chitin blob. Interesting. For Cool Umbrella, we have as many Skirmish Cav as you can bring between Wolf Riders and Spider Riders. We also have the RORs. We have more Spider Rider charges, Squig Herds, Date Peak Loonies, Orc Boys, more Squigs, Goblins, Orc Boys. We have one Stone Troll, Wurzag, with Gaze of Mork and Brain Burster. We have Black Orc Big Boss, more Skirmishers, and more Spider Riders. So it's Skirmish Cav versus Skirmish Cav. Okay. Gonna have a little bit of a skirmish phase here as Spider Riders are running down some Glade Riders, really trying to catch them as the Greenskins are out trading them in value currently. Glade Riders and Spears are going to dive into these Spider Riders, but the Spider Riders have a lot of chevrons. This one's gold chevron, the other one's silver chevron, so their stats are kind of wild. Ariel even going to invest Firebark Elders too, so this is a bit of an overcommitment from the Greenskins. There's not a whole lot they can do against some of these units, and yeah, that is a bit of a mistake from Cool Umbrella. He's going to want to pull back. Now his Skirmish Cav are firing in, but you know, Greenskin Skirmish Cav doesn't do that much damage. It's more of just an annoying harassment tool. So that a bit of an overextension there from the Greenskins. And they are still committing with Squig Herds, really funneling in one by one here, and they are going to regret that. Two of their Spider Riders are already pushed out, and they took a lot of damage. Squig Herd is starting to take some serious damage as well, all for a bit of damage on a Glade Rider. That's still here. I don't know about that one. That was a whoopsie. Don't know why that reminded me of the scene where Fry's going to jump off the Planet Express building, but it did. Do a flip. Alright, finally the Glade Riders of Spears is pushed off. Brainburster comes out from Wurzag, doing a good amount of damage to the Wild Riders, honestly. And still... Ouch. Ooh, ouch. Dwellers Below onto 3 units, though, one of which Stone Trolls really doesn't take that much damage. Morgan's Veins Marauders got almost entirely deleted, as did these other Goblin Wolf Riders, so it ended up being quite a good Dwellers Below. 8 Peak Loonies are still in there fighting. Balance of power is about even, but I think the Wood Elves are way out trading the Greenskins this early into the game. Wurzag's getting sniped out. A lot of their units are low on health, getting pushed off with leadership. And I thought I saw something exploding in this blob. There it is. It was a breath attack, doing a lot of damage. So, like, the balance of power isn't shifting at all, but I really think the Wood Elves are in a pretty commanding position at this point. So this is a Twilight dive in on their dragon, potentially going to get surrounded by Effigy. He's going to get Effigy to get it netted on the ground, and then Stone Trolls are going to surround him. He's going to take a lot of damage. I don't know about this one, Chief. Wurzag's still running in. Unless, did he use Effigy to get on something else recently? Because otherwise I don't know why he's not using that net on this guy right now. Big Soul Stealer is going to hit all of these units, and they're getting shot, and they're getting charged. This could be a big Greenskin bait and rout. Effigy the Git still has not come out. It must be on cooldown. He only has one use of it yet left, so yeah, he used it somewhere else. Another Brain Burst on some more Elf Cav, but this is looking like a little bit of a disaster for the Greenskins on this side. Meanwhile, the Firebark Elders are just tanking a ton of Skirmish Cav fire. They don't give a shit, and Ariel's over there helping out against the 8 Peak Loons. Greenskins getting bodied at the moment. Get back here, Pop, to keep everybody in the fight, but Wurzag's not having a good time fighting the Sisters of Twilight. Wild Riders, they are getting worked down. They have received a lot of healing this game. Stone Trolls are so close to breaking, and without them, that means the Orc Boys will also go soon, leaving Wurzag on his own, and he'll probably get sniped out. The Green Tide is back. I would say better than ever, but they are significantly worse than ever with how injured they all are. That's just how health bars work. And Elves are still up on the balance of power. Now looking around, the Elven Cavalry has taken some serious blows. They have some of their Skirmish Cavalry left, but that's about it. Their Wild Riders have taken a lot, and the Sisters of Twilight still stuck in here. Their bait worked for a bit, but now they're a little overcommitted. This Black Orc Big Boss is smacking them on their booty while Spider Riders do their best, and Wurzag gets off his second Effigy of the Git, really keeping them in place, and Ariel has not sent any healing their way. No Berry Wine for them. It looks like it was used on something else, but the Sisters are going to probably rout. Ariel is coming over here to provide some terror and try and just push things off and get the Sisters out. Another Soul Stealer is getting dropped. Sisters now officially breaking. Still, the Greenskins clawed back the balance of power towards the middle. I personally think the Wood Elves are doing just fine, but we'll have to see. I just don't have any faith in Greenskins' health bars when they're all that low, and when their leader is about to die, because Wurzag is about to die. 600 HP, throws out a quick Gaze of Mork on the Sisters of Twilight, and they are popping their heal just now. The Conjoined Destiny. If that Conjoined Destiny goes off, they'll be just fine. They're getting away from everyone. Conjoined Destiny pops, and they rally. On the ground, in place, they rally, they are back. Wurzag is sniped, and with the Lord is Dead penalty, all of these greenskins are going to get into a mass rout situation. The Black Orc Big Boss is getting his ass kicked by Arrow right now, and the Balance of Power is just tanks for the greenskins. And I would have to agree. For each Monogod, Chaos Faction, Exalted Demon, Herald, or Chaos Lord. Slaanesh, you almost always want one of their 2 Legendary Lords. Tzeentch, you almost always want Kairos. Almost always that I see competitively, but like a lot of the Tzeentch Lords are good. It's just I usually see very good Tzeentch players take Kairos. Khorne, you see a good mix of Skarbrand or Herald. So Skarbrand or Herald are usually... Oh, and Valkia. Yeah, between those 3. But, so Khorne has a good mix of what lords they use. And then Nurgle, you see a mix. Like, you don't see a ton of Nurgle, so a mix at all is pretty much it. But I see a lot of the Chaos Sorcerer Lord of Nurgle, personally. There it is. Wurzag actually wasn't dead. He slipped out of there and I just didn't notice him, but then he finally died. They tried to snipe out the sister. Why are sisters not sniping Wurzag? That's free. I also think they were a little too generous to Wurzag. Sisters didn't get that much value. They had 1 good breath attack, and then they dove in and kind of died. Ariel got 3,000 value, so she was really carrying. Firebark Elders just held forever. Wild Riders got mostly smoked. Glade Riders with their archers. The archer Glade Riders did well. The basic Glade Riders just had to kind of be meat shields. Wurzag did fine. Black Orc Big Boss did okay. Stone Trolls did fine, too, honestly. 8 Peekaloons got murdered. Skirmish Cav did fine. Orc Boys did well. Yeah, some of these regular melee Cav got worked on for how much money was invested in them and chevrons and stuff. And then Squig Herds did okay. A lot of the Greenskin build did okay, but Ariel provided a lot of healing with Soul Stealers and Berry Wines and stuff like that, so. Isn't Kugath good now that he's an artillery specialist, duelist, Mortis engine? He is. The problem with Kugath is with Immortal Empires coming out, a lot of factions have artillery and archers that can just shoot his ass. So he has to be in a matchup where your enemy does not have a lot of basic cheap missiles. Yeah. But if you know you're in for a melee fight, Kugath's incredible, yeah. It's just like, also, not a lot of people pick into Nurgle when there is a melee fight going on. Alright, back to the Photoshop. Bam. Bam. We're getting there. Maiden will advance. High Elves VP, we saw both them today. Beastmen, Bretonnia, we saw both them today. So, we'll go with Greyest Wolf for Central Scrutinizer. The first time Empire is picked today. Will Ogres go 2-0 and prove they're not a bad faction at all? Or will Empire, the only Empire representative, stay in there? Couldn't you just bring 4 Furies or Flyers to kill ranged? Usually you can defend your ranged. Usually. Like, it's not like if the Furies touch the Archers instantly die, right? It still takes some time. You probably have ground units nearby to help them out. Alright, Greyest Wolf versus Central Scrutinizer. For Greyest Wolf, we have 4 Huntsmen, a front line of Spearmen, a secondary line of Halberdiers. So 4 Halberdiers, 5 Spearmen, 4 Huntsmen, a Jade Wizard with only Regrowth, Demigryph Knights with Halberds, Empire Knights, and Outriders with Grenade Launchers. A very wild Empire build from Greyest Wolf. Like, I like it, but like the 1 Empire Knight, 1 Demigryph Knight with Halberds, 1 Grenade Launcher, Franz is all pretty insane, honestly. I think Boris is probably the best lord here, personally. Boris's punishments, if you have low leadership, is really good against factions like Ogres that have low leadership. Mark of Nurgle is only for mortals. Yeah. Alrighty, for the Ogres, we have double Scrap Launcher, so trying to kite out the Empire a little bit. We do have the Sky Striders, Crushers with great weapons. We have the Slaughtermaster of the Great Maw with Bone Crusher and Troll Guts. We have 4 Saber Tusk packs, a whole bunch of Ogre Bulls, 4 of the regular Ogre Bulls, 3 with dual weapons, 3 Noblars, and 2 Noblar Trappers. So a bit of a kite build. Looks like the ogres just want to... Yeah. Ogres just want to kite for a bit. Rotfly should have better DPS. They are the hammer of the entire Anvil army of Nurgle. Yeah, Rotflies are terrible. So Scrap Launchers and Noblar Trappers are going to be doing a little bit of kiting. We'll play on ×2 speed till we get closer. Grenade Launchers out trading the Noblar Trappers, so they're going to fall back. Scrap Launchers falling back, and here comes the Ogre charge. The Spearmen do manage to brace, and there are no Noblars breaking the bracing, so bap. And the Ogres are going to start to take a lot of charge reflection damage off of these spears. This one was much better. The Noblars broke the bracing of the Spearmen, and then you can see they took a lot of damage in the charge. Scrap Launcher still firing at point-blank range into Huntsman, not really doing that much damage. I personally am not a fan of Scrap Launchers, but yeah. Happy but surprised not to see War Wagons too. What's up, Rat Levers? Hey, McRightface. Ogres are swarming over the sides, and the Empire has very limited cavalry to stop this. As you can see, Saber-Tusk packs are already committing to the back line, getting onto Huntsman, getting onto Outriders, Grenade Launchers, protecting the Scrap Launchers so far. Slaughtermaster the Great Maw is in, and Karl Franz is waiting in the sky, just waiting for the Sky Striders to go somewhere so he can dive on that Lord, it looks like. Huntsmen are firing, but they have got Ogre Bulls to contend with, and Empire Knights are going to go fight Saber-Tusk packs in the back. Where are the Halberds? There they are. They're just slaughtering some Ogre Bulls. Franz lands, and immediately the Sky Striders are on top of him. Central Scrutinizer wants this man dead. But there are Democrats with halberds. There are regular halberds all nearby here, and it looks like the Sky Striders might want to fuck off as the Reichlin Runefang is popped, giving these halberdiers 50 melee attack plus bonus versus large. The Demigryph Knights have 56 plus bonus versus large, so that's a lot of stuff, and the Sky Striders are just going to walk away. Don't really want to deal with that at all. Ogres have a mass rout on the top side. They did not get through there at all, and that is a big loss for them. Backline also seems to be going well for the Empire, as the Huntsmen are holding against the Ogre Bulls while Franz and the others try to peel them off. These Empire Knights have just been running after Saber-Tusk since the dawn of time. The only thing that's going kind of well for the Ogres is the front line in the center here, but even that's not going great. It's just going okay. Carl Barl. No Demigryphs? There's one Demigryph. It's right there. It's right there, Tiago. Right there. There's a Demigryph. It's right there. The Demigryph. How dare you ignore the Demigryph that's right there? It's right there. It's a Demigryph. How dare you say there's no Demigryph? There's a Demigryph right there, and it's dead. Regrowth quick coming in for the Demigryph before it starts to lose too many models, really trying to hold on over here, but the Sky Striders plus the Ogre Bulls plus the Scrap Launcher is all giving it some serious hell. Trollgut's also healing up the Sky Striders as the Demigryph Knights just desperately try to hold on, but they are already routing and gone. Empire is up on the balance of power, and I would tend to agree, but we do still have a core for the Ogres that could be pretty good in the late game, but there's a lot of halberds left. Franz needs to get out of here and get back up into the sky, and it looks like the Sky Striders are fine with that for now. Scrap Launchers are both at slightly under half ammo. Tiago, you didn't see him? How dare you? Demigryphs, what about Quasi-Griffs? Barrel Griffs. Franz might come in for a fight onto the Slaughtermaster. It looks like he's going to avoid it, though, because the Sky Striders are just right here, puppy guarding. Boo, no puppy guarding. Anyway, they are just puppy guarding, sitting around. Full health Empire Knight will come back to the fight soon. It has shattered a Saber-Tusk pack, so it'll rejoin the fight. And the Ogres are about out of gas, except for their Lord, 2 Scrap Launchers, and the Sky Striders. But anything of the Ogres that costs under 800 gold is pretty much doomed right now. Semigryphs, they die instantly. Demis Semigryph. What do you call Demigryphs who have been disbanded, then rehired later on? Demithrifs. Franz dives back in. He doesn't have any of his buffs popped, so it looks like he's just going for natural attack. And wow, those Sky Striders lost a bunch of leadership for being that healthy and that elite. All right, they're going to fuck off. But they're taking a lot of damage from Franz and the Halberdiers, so they do need to leave. Ogre's having a bit of a resurgence. Doing their best to get some routing stuff going, get some of their army passive. I haven't seen them use their army passive anywhere, so I wonder if they're just waiting on a big butcher to throw onto these guys. Something's getting thrown on them. Another Troll Guts onto the Sky Striders. They've surrounded the Jade Wizard, but he's on foot. So the Sky Striders, you can see when you talk about Ogre buffs, they need their models to get fixed when they just run around stuff like that. A lot of monstrous things will do that for foot characters, so they're just not swinging at that Jade Wizard at all. Franz is gonna straight up land in the Sky Striders. Reichlin Runefang popped on him, but Butcher plus Troll Guts, their health is rocketing up towards its heal cap, and now Franz is surrounded. This is a big moment in the game for either party. If Franz dies here, the Empire could be in real trouble of Ogres just cycle charging them with low leadership. If the Sky Striders die, then there's nothing left to protect the Scrap Launchers or the Lord. So it's Sky Striders versus Franz, who wins? And right now, Franz is getting the better of them. Sky Striders are going to fuck off. But that leaves the Lord exposed. Demigryph Knights with halberds are charging in from the rear. They're back, baby. Better than ever. And they are just going to straight up charge after the Sky Striders. They're not giving up on them, who tear out away from Franz with 1 leadership. As long as they don't naturally break, at least they can come back and then fight the Demigryph Knights and probably win that fight. But it's looking real good for the Empire now. Franz is terror routed off the Slaughtermaster. And the Sky Striders are hanging on. They're fighting. As long as they're not running, they're fighting. Scrap Launchers still have a good amount of ammo for this late in the game, but there's just not a lot they can do. There's too many things for them to shoot. Sky Striders are routed off, Slaughtermaster is routed off, and that is probably going to be game at this point. Demigryph Knights will run that off, Franz will run him off, and it's over. I don't have any liquids to drink, and that makes me very sad. Huntsman did fine. Franz did well. Jade Wizard just didn't die because he's on foot. Halberds did great. Spearmen did very well. Demigryph with halberds struggled a little bit. Empire Knights did well. Outright Grenade Launcher struggled a little bit. You can make them 1/4 of their normal size Premigryphs. Alright, for Scroot, Slaughtermaster the Great Maw, 400 value. He was mostly a heal bot. 2,400 on the Sky Striders. I just really don't like Nobbler Scrap Launchers in general. I don't think they're a trash unit, I just don't like them. But they were doing fine. They had plenty of ammo left. They got 600 value. I think they cost 900. I just don't think they, like, are very good. I think they're fine. Saber-Tusk packs did well. Ogres mixed as per usual. Depends on what situation they found themselves in. Nobblar Trappers did okay, and Nobblars died, as they need to. Too many pointy sticks for Ogres. That was definitely a staunch line of spears. Alrighty. I think there's 2 games left of round 1. Greyest Wolf will advance. We have Razel versus Bowman. We have Raced versus Tretch. Oh, good stretch. Let's save the best for last. Let's go with High Elves versus VP, and then we'll do Beastman versus Brett. High Elves versus VP. Let's go. Raced versus Tretch. A very small, very elite High Elf build here. Versus kind of interesting VP build, honestly. It's a lot of bombs. It's a lot of bombs from Tretch. Alrighty, Arcane Phoenix. Tyrion on foot with Sunfang, Faint Riposte, Stand Your Ground, and Foe Seeker, and Heart of Avalorn. That's a buff Tyrion for not being on a horse. Then we have a Mage of Death with Fate of Buna and Spirit Leech. Wow. Mage of Death? Really? Okay. Quadruple Shadow Walker. And then we have a Dragon Prince, Silverhelm with Shield, and the Lyrian Reaver. That's the whole build. They did to offset the Warwagon price increase. Alright. For the VP of Tretch, we have a front line of pistols, secondary line of 4 deck dropper bombers, 3 more foot bombers. It looks like we have double depth guards, some basic sword and board mobs. Then we have animated Hulks, 2 of them, and a Lamprey's Revenge. Count Noctilus on foot. It's an itty-bitty army. Yee. One of the bombers is already starting to crumble. It's getting closer to Noctilus for an Invocation of Nehek, most likely. Just try to keep it alive, make the Shadow Walkers use more ammunition on it, but it looks like he's actually not going to heal it, which means it will just slowly crumble to death. And bombers have a low enough health pool that crumbling actually hurts them a lot. Yeah. Now he heals it, but that was a little bit delayed in my opinion. Its leadership will come back to positive now that it's nearby allies, and it'll slowly heal up. Fate of Buna plus some shots is going to take out an entire Depth Guard unit. Oh, it hangs on. Oh, it hangs on. I want Empire to be good, but not like this. Alright, Dragon Princes charge into the pistol mobs, one of which is a summon. And they surprisingly take very little damage on the way out. They are going to get a Wraith Storm onto them, but I'm kind of surprised that the VP didn't get more shots off there. Shadow Walkers are still kiting around a little bit. The Arcane Phoenix is walking about, trying to get some free attacks off onto these gunnery mobs. Some of the summons are going to fire over onto them. Bombers are flying above, walking towards the skirmishers, but they're probably going to take an ass whooping on their way over there as the Shadow Walkers will just shoot them out of the sky. Yeah, they're taking a lot of damage. Let's go, my zombies. What up, David? They're just getting somewhere even shittier in Warhammer 3 than 2. Now, these two bombers are a little bit clumped up, meaning any arrows that miss one target have a chance to hit another, and you can see they're doing a lot of damage to them. Somehow these guys aren't crumbling at this point, but you think they would be, as Tyrion and his Phoenix friend are taking out the pistols. This other pistol summon is just trying to get some damage off. But so far, the High Elves have taken, like, virtually no damage, and they've gotten a lot out. Now, as a lot of the chat is concerned about, it's all about how much ammunition the Shadow Walkers have, but for now, they're doing well. They have a lot of ammunition left. The Arcane Phoenix is going to keep these bombers crumbling, and again, like I said earlier, the bombers have such limited HP pools that crumbling actually does matter versus them. It really takes them out quite quickly. For crumbling. Gastronet... Colonetry? I don't know what you guys are doing. Y'all are being silly. Tyrion's out here fighting. Another pistol summon comes out from Noctilus, really invest in these pistols, and the white line is right there, so the High Elves are in a bit of trouble of getting blocked in, but it looks like some of the Vampire Coast army is getting left behind. I wonder if that's intentionally just to want to get a shot, but I don't really know. Two deck droppers with bombers are out, and Tyrion's first Sunfang will get thrown to also kill another bomber bat. More bomber bats are flying above. They have gotten a couple volleys off onto the Shadow Walkers, it seems, but my screen was not on them since they're so low on HP, and they're the only thing around that could possibly do that much. And Tyrion on foot is getting to fight Count Noctilus, his ideal target. Phoenix gets a good predictive poop onto the depth guard from Raced. Nice job there. And these bombers are still just chasing down. They have fire while moving. They don't, so they do have to stop and shoot. But they catch up to the elves, and if they can rout any of the elves at this position, they will walk them straight off the map. Noctilus throws out more summons just to be annoying. Animated Hulks are closing in. They really, really want to catch the elves in this bad position. Illyrian Reavers from Raced do get caught standing still a little bit, and they get shot by the pistols and the shotgun crabs, pushing them away as well. And again, we're right next to the edge of the map, so a lot of stuff that gets caught here will die. Another Race Storm onto the Dragon Princes are currently surrounded, just trying to do more damage to them, but Noctilus is having a hard time getting away from this bird and Tyrion. Some of the zombies from Raced earlier that were either forgotten or just being kept away from the skirmishers are now getting remembered and pulled forward, but it's all a little bit too slow. Noctilus is taking a lot of damage. We need the Lamprey's Revenge to come over here and save him in melee combat. We need them to come over and save him in melee combat. Please come over and save him. Please. Shadow Walkers are just deleting these bomber bats, and they still have a ton of ammunition, like just so much ammo. I don't know if they've been conserving it or if they have more ammunition than a lot of other skirmish units, but it feels like their ammo is just not going down as they wreck those bombers. Mage of Death is pushed off, pistol mob's harassing her as she goes, and she's running into more fields of fire, so there's no relief in sight there. Noctilus is getting his ass kicked by Tyrion. He needs to get out of there, and a Spirit Leech even down onto him is making this even worse. Leon Reavers on the backside will help finish off a zombie pistol summon, and the bomber bats are all dead. High Elves doing very well. How many bomber bats recently? They're probably an invasive species. I see. Animated Hulks recharging the Illyrian Reavers will get rid of them. And now with pistol support, neither of which is a summon, all trying to fire at Tyrion, who is on foot, so she's probably shooting at the bird. The bird's at least a little taller, so maybe they could get some shots up, but that's going okay. Balance power is about even, slightly favored for the High Elves, and I would agree, especially with these Depth Guard getting caught up by the Dragon Princes, they are going to die soon. High Elves still have a lot of ammunition for this state in the game. Silver Helms are very healthy, Dragon Princes are not, and there's no healing for them, to be fair. A little bit of a bump and grind with Tyrion, though the crabs are doing great work onto the Arcane Phoenix. Another Spirit Leech onto Noctilus, and some big damage coming out from Tyrion onto the Lamprey's Revenge. Big damage. Oh, they didn't throw a Spirit Leech on Noctilus, they threw a Fate of Being on the Lamprey's Revenge. Oh, whoa, that's what that was. Fate of Being on the Depth Guard, okay. I was wondering where the ho was coming from. Shadow Walkers are still continuing to kite, doing a lot of damage to these bombers. Bombers have not been able to throw all game. Dragon Princes and Silver Helms are ready to do some cycle charging. Assuming they die, High Elf Superiority Complex before match even loads in. Yeah. I think it estimated the meta right at the beginning of Warhammer 2, a Generate Bomber and Bad Kite. Yes. Okay, a lot of words there, but good kite. Arcane Phoenix is still surrounded by the Lamprey's Revenge, getting his ass handed to him right now. Tyrion is going to throw out a Predictive Sunfang that's just a little late, because that spell, or ability, I guess, that ability has a longer wind-up time than you would ever expect it to have. Now the coast is looking a little bit in ascendancy. Dragon Princes on the last leg, just trying to hold zombies off from the Shadow Walkers. Shadow Walkers are pushed far away from the main fight. And now Tyrion is stuck in combat with Animated Hulks, and maybe Depth Guard could even join in, and the Arcane Phoenix is gone. Noctilus should not be fighting Tyrion. Should not be fighting Tyrion. Make the Depth Guard do it. Make the Depth Guard fight Tyrion, not Noctilus. Get Noctilus out of there. And Noctilus is trying to path out of there. The Depth Guard, for some reason, are not committing to fight Tyrion. They would be good at it. They do have anti-infantry. They're great combatants. They regen when in melee combat, and they can flood in the gaps that the Lamprey's Revenge and the Animated Hulks are making. And Noctilus is still in there. I really don't know why the Depth Guard are pulling away. I think that's a pretty big mistake, in my opinion. Dragon Prince is still getting poked down, so are Silver Helms by these pistol mobs. Shadow Walkers still kiting away with a good amount of ammunition that they're just not using, interestingly enough. CA is goated for the ho-ho sound effect. It is a good sound effect. And Noctilus retreats through his own crabs, and still the Depth Guard are walking away from the only thing they could fight, which would be Tyrion. I don't know why they're not fighting him. I like, not to harp too much on it, but if Tretch knows why, if he's in chat, or if he could just DM me on Discord, like, I'm actually significantly confused why the Depth Guard aren't fighting. Another Fate of Buna onto them, I would imagine. There it is, another Fate of Buna onto the Depth Guard. That'll probably finish them off, or at least get them into crumbling range. Meanwhile, Dragon Princes are pushed off. Silver Helms are pushed off. Illyrian Reavers, if they break one more time, they will shatter. And pistol mobs are shooting at Tyrion while the Lamprey's Revenge fight him. And Noctilus, please, for the love of God, don't go fight him again. Don't you fight him again. Tyrion's taking a lot of damage from the pistols. Noctilus is getting close, but he does have Heart of Avalorn. That bitch is going to heal cap himself before he breaks at this rate. It's all about, like, as any high alpha player will tell you, it's about if he breaks or not. He pops Stand Your Ground to give him some leadership in this time of need so that he can get his Heart of Avalorn off. Invocation and the Heck Overcast didn't look like it did damage to Noctilus, as the Depth Guard now commit just as they're shattering, but again, I really don't know why they didn't commit earlier to that fight. The kiting goes well for the High Elves on the other side. They are up on the damage, on the balance of power, and Tyrion is fighting Count Noctilus, but his Heart of Avalorn popped, and now he's full HP, baby, and he's kicking Noctilus's ass. I don't know what is going on here. Animated Hulks come back to the fight now, but they had left for a bit. The Mage of Death is running away from pistol mobs who are shooting her in the face, but I think the High Elves probably have this at this point. Tyrion is whooping lots of ass on the low ground. Noctilus and his Lamprey's Revenge are almost heal capped. There's Animated Hulks here, but other than that, there's nothing that can kill all these Shadow Walkers off. As another Sunfang is going to get cast. This time it'll probably hit the Gunnery Mob on the very far end. Yep, does good damage. Noctilus falls back. Tyrion is taking a good amount of damage now from Lamprey's Revenge, who are almost heal capped. And the kiting continues. Race has been very conservative with his ammunition. Does finally launch a volley at them, causing those guys to start crumbling. Cav will charge in and finish off that little pistol mob. Spirit Leech onto Noctilus does finish him off. Noctilus is dead and gone. Tyrion's getting low, but he can get another Heart of Avalorn here. The remnants of the Cav still charging in, still taking out pistol mobs. Sword and board mobs running around. But now we have the archers here. They can fire in on the Lamprey's Revenge or the Animated Hulks, doing good damage. Tyrion healed again with the Heart of Avalorn, so he is fully heal capped, but it does not matter, as at this point the Vampire Coast are doomed. He procs under 50%, so me think? Yeah. There's no leadership variable? No, but like, Black, the point is usually when Tyrion gets that low, he breaks. Yeah. That's the problem. So Tyrion 3,800, 1,000 value on the Phoenix, 2,800 on the Deathcaster. Shadow Walkers all did really, really well, and Cav did fine. Just had to block up some stuff. Noctilus, mixed Crabs did insane value, almost 3,800 themselves. Animated Hulks did fine. Everything else just got kited and walked around. Pistol mobs did really well. This is like why the pistol mobs have been taking so much, though, is if you get kited as the coast, you can just walk after them and the pistols will shoot. So that's pretty good. Yeah, I don't want to harp on too much. Like, Tretch is either as good as me or better by now because he's been practicing a lot recently. We used to be even, so he's probably better than me by now. But, like, that game did come down to a huge mistake around Tyrion. The Depth Guard, like, standing off and not fighting with him to get regen. I don't know why they didn't want to fight him, but then all that happened is they got Fate of Bunad, and then by the time they tried to get in the fight with him, they just disintegrated. So that was unfortunate. That was not a good thing. And then Noctilus kept charging in to fight Tyrion and get his ass handed to him, and that really hurt. So there was a couple mistakes there that were pretty brutal around the Tyrion fight. Maybe, like, the only thing I could say for Tretch is he maybe thought Tyrion was on horse. And then that makes sense, but when, like, we know, because we were spectating, that Tyrion's on foot, then that was a huge mistake. But if he thinks Tyrion's on a horse, maybe he's like, okay, well, Noctilus can get in there with his anti-large, and Depth Guard don't have anti-large, so that's the only devil's advocate argument I can give. But a little bit of a mistake around Tyrion. That, or maybe his micro was focused on chasing down all the Shadow Walkers off in the distance while we were focusing on the Tyrion fight, so maybe he wasn't even looking at the Tyrion fight. I don't know. Accidentally opened my Spotify, but that's okay. So the High Elves will advance with their small build everybody was betting against. They did it. They kited it out. And we're down to the last game for today. Razel versus Bowman, Beastmen versus Bretonnia. You can see on this replay thing, 2 of our round 2 games are already completed as well. So things are rocking and rolling. Beastman versus Brett. Looks like the Minobus versus Grail Knights and Lewin. Oh god, fucking Lewin. You all know how I feel about Lewin. It's not a surprise at this point. I hate him. I think he sucks. Like, a lot of good Bretonnia players, better Bretonnia players than me, like Lewin, and I just, like, from the outside looking in, I just don't understand it. I think Lewin sucks ass. On the side of the Beastmen, we have a shitload of Centaurs. Looks like 4 of them. The Groghooves of Wolf's Run. Centaurs are throwing axes. Then we have 2 Minotaurs of Great Weapons and 1 Butchers of Kalkengard. Minotaur ROR. Torrox the Brass Bull. Bray Shaman of Wilds with Traderkin. And the Jagged Dagger for regen. So it's just the only spell is Traderkin. And 5 Ungor Spearman Herds. On the side of Bretonnia, we have King Lewin Leoncoeur. 2 Mounted Yeoman Archers. 2 Knights Errant? 2 Knights Errant? Yeah, 2 Knights Errant. Grail Knights, Knights of the Lionhearted, Knights of the Realm ROR. We have a Grail Relique in the middle of a bunch of peasant mobs and peasant long spearmen, trying to keep them all in the fight. Damsel of Life with Dwellers Below and Earthblood. And 1 archer with fire arrows. Knights Errant thought about taking a charge, then decided to fuck off. These Knights Errant did take the charge onto those Ungor Spearmen Herd. Did not get a lot of damage out. Now they're going to get chased down by Centaurs. Centaurs won't do that much damage to them, but it's like these guys can't fight back at all, or they'll get run down by the Butchers of Kalkengard. Makes it a little tough for them. Meanwhile, on the far side, Grail Knights and Knights of the Lionhearted are trying to take a fight against Centaurs, but they are going to get rear charged by Minotaur's Great Weapons and taken down by throwing axes. So that is going to be a brutal engagement for Bretonnia. Lewin is going to take advantage of this moment that the Butchers of Kalkengard are otherwise engaged, as is Torrox, and he's going to get some free attacks onto the Bray Shaman of Wilds. He's going to try and take him out there, while Knights Errant peel for him a little bit from all these Centaurs. Meanwhile, Grail Knights have taken about half HP, and now they're trying to get out of here. Looks like they'll maybe fight the Groghooves of Wolf's Run, as the Knights of the Lionhearted slam into their back. Now, in the main line, Torrox and the Butchers of Kalkengard have single-handedly just walked through the entire Bretonnian peasant area and taken out anything they pleased. An overcasted Traderkin onto Lewin and 2 Knight units is going to be okay. It's not as good onto Knights anymore as it used to be, but it's still fine onto Lewin, so that's all good. Knights Errant get caught sleeping a little bit by these Minotaur's Great Weapons. And there is a big Dwellers Below cast onto some Ungors, but Lewin was fighting forever, and he just now broke that Bray Shaman of Wilds. Lewin's back into the sky. Beastmen are fighting the front line for quite a while. They don't seem to care about that too much, as they're just winning the mobile game. These, the Grail Knights are dead, straight up dead. The Knights of the Lionhearted are soon to follow. Beastmen in pretty advantaged state in this game. The balance of power also indicates it. Butchers of Kalkengard now surrounded on 2 Knights by Knights, 2 sides by Knights, Knights Errant and Grail Knights, but they don't seem too perturbed by that at the moment. We still have a fully healthy one over here. And Torrox has just been walking around peasants the entire game like, Torrox want meat! The French guy here is playing Beastmen, strangely enough. Hi, Hanadens. We watched your game earlier. Alright. Lewin did get caught on the ground. Now he's getting thrown at by throwing axes and surrounded by Minotaurs of Great Weapons. He's getting his ass handed to him as the fate of Bohemond gets worse and worse. The balance of power turns against him as the Butchers of Kalkengard are still fighting in the backfield. There's even some Centaurs coming to help him out. Torrox still hasn't had to do anything this game, and he finds the Damsel of Life and he says, "Pretty lady, go smash!" and kills her, ending the game. I hate Lewin. I think he's a bad lord. I hate him. I hate him. He sucks. He's stinky. He's stinky. He's stinky. I hate him. 500 value on that guy. Don't worry, he only costs almost 3,000 gold. Damsel of Life got almost as much value, 460 off of One Dwellers Below, pretty much. Grail Knights, wow, Grail Knights got slapped. Oh boy, they did not get a lot of value. Knights Errant and Knights of the Lion-Hearted also struggled to get their value. Mounted Yeoman Archers struggled. Beastmen went moo. Beastmen ran over things. Beastmen went rar. For Razel, Torox got 500 value. He also struggled to do anything. He just walked around some archers for a bit and decided to say fuck it, but the game was ending. Let the lower leadership win. Want to hear a joke, Son of Kiernan? Sure. 900 value on the Butchers of Kalgengard, 1,800 on the Minotaurs of Great Weapons, 400 on another one, though they all, you see, none of the Minotaurs lost a single model, so they had plenty of love left to give. Grogcubs of Wolf Run just about paid for themselves. Trader Concaster did 1,000 damage value, and Centaurs did fine. Hunger Sperms did fine. Want to hear a joke, Bretonnian Lords? That's pretty good. All right. So, that is it. Hi, Mossy. That is it for the round of 32. If you missed any of it, you can go back and check those out. But here we are. Where are you? There you are. Razel advances. So the next stream I'm hoping will either be later this week or early next weekend. We will cover all of the games you see here. VP versus Slaanesh, Kislev versus Nurgle, etc. And in that same stream, we'll also do the next round. So let's say Slaanesh and Kislev win. It'll be, we'll cast both these games and then Kislev versus Slaanesh up there. Then the third stream will be the Final Four, which will be a best of one between these two factions, best of one between these two factions, and whoever goes to the final, it'll be best of three, land battle, domination, land battle for there. So the top four will be live. The next stream will be replays as well. Right? Sounds good? And as you saw in the thing, we do actually have 2 games already done, and now that you know who all won, I can say Loopy has already fought his next game with Warlord M, so it would be Norska, and John FB did fight Voidlaws. So, those games are already done. Everybody else is working on their games, but we're kind of doing a relaxed schedule. It's the holidays, people have different schedules, which is why we're doing all this replays. It's harder to schedule one live event with 32 people that would last like 8 hours than it is to do, all right, let's narrow it down to 4 people, and then I can work with 4 people to figure out when we could do a live event, because it's like, oh, I'm on vacation from this to this time, oh, I'm not around, I'm working this time and this, and it's like, all right, just, it's easier to deal with 4 people than 32 for a live thingy. A thingy. All right. Ogres is way better than what you think. Yeah, Ogres is fine. I mean, I still think they're like lower tier, but I don't think they're trash. There's worse factions. I think Wood Elves or Demons of Chaos are probably the worst factions right now. Probably. Anyway, goodbye. Goodbye, everybody.